Night Owls.
Turn on Night Owls.
start saw him disqualified as Italy's Lamont Marcel Jacobs went on to take Usain Bolt's title. But Great Britain's gold medal haul has been extended to 10. Max Whitlock's brilliant pommel horse routine made him a triple Olympic champion. Charlotte Worthington's gold was equally stylish, winning the BMX freestyle event with a 360 backflip.
And in the Scottish Premiership, Hibs twice came from behind to clinch a 3-2 win at Motherwell in their first top-flight game of the season. From Sky News, I'm Andy Hayes.
Greatest Hits Radio.
And now, the forerunner to Facebook, where your words tell 1,000 Instagrams. Use your phone for making that call. And get talking across the northeast, please. Because this is Night Owls with Alan Robson.
Hello everybody, welcome to Alan Robson's Night Owls. This is Greatest Hits Radio. Thank you very much for joining us. Greatest Hits Radio Northeast. The best bit. So, what are we going to talk about tonight? Well, got a great story and we have to follow up on it. There's a man, I'm not going to give his surname, but his Christian name is Edward. And what he said was, he was away for a week and he asked his mum to house sit to feed his fish, because he's got fish tanks, and to go in and water the plants. That was it. Being a mother, she had a bit of a sporch around. Now, she said, I was just looking to see if he had anything that needed washing. I wasn't sure about that, because she went through his drawers, literally these chests of drawers and stuff, and through his wardrobe. And in his bottom drawer, opposite his bed, beside shirts and sports gear, shorts and what have you, socks, he had a pair of what looked like Victorian manacles. Now, she didn't know whether to mention it or not to mention it, but she's a mother and a woman, so it had to come out. And as soon as he got back, she said, what are the manacles for? And he went, what do you mean? And she had to own up that she'd been going through his things, looking for washing. He bought them at a car boot sale. He thought they were cool. He's got a pair of manacles. That's his story. He's sticking to it. And it made me think, what weird stuff have you got kicking around? What's the weirdest thing you own? Weird stuff. Things that people would be surprised that you've got. What weird stuff have you got? And I'm going to add to that, what is your weird secret? It might be that you've got to do a certain amount of things. You know, there's a lot of people who are pretty much obsessed. You know, you leave a house, you've got to check the door like 9 times and then open it again to go up to check all the taps and the windows, make sure all the plugs are out, make sure everything's switched off. Do you have a secret obsession? Do you have a weird secret? And what's the oddest, most peculiar, most conversation sparking thing that you own? And ideally, if most people don't know you got one. And I'll go so far as to say, even if you don't have it now, the weirdest, oddest, most peculiar thing you've ever had. And I don't mean people, I mean stuff. There you go, let's do some of that. Now, I've always thought keeping ashes. Now, I thought that until I had my mum's ashes, because she stayed in a cupboard in work for about 4 months, me ma. She's in the Tyne now, as it happens, off the Tyne Bridge. But if you've got somebody in a jar in your house, even if you love them very much, disaster will eventually happen.
No! You've tipped over your mum's ashes in the cupboard?
Yes, it will have to hoover it up.
No! That's your mother! Show her some respect!
I was just wanting to have a look inside.
You don't hoover your mother!
And we spilt it, a little bit of it.
Right.
It tipped.
I can't believe you hoovered your mother.
I'll never forgive it.
So she's going down the river where there's a little bit of her in the hoover bag.
So what's the odd kind of things that you got around the house? Maybe an odd painting or something you picked up somewhere. An odd ornament, a bit of antique something. Or tat. Could be anything. Weird things, please. Doesn't get weirder than an inflatable woman. So you bought yourself a doll partner?
Aye. I didn't fancy trying to date anybody out like that, and I think anybody would replace my wife, really.
So you bought the doll not for anything sexy. This is just company.
No.
This is just company.
I couldn't date if I wanted to because we're having the operation for the prostate.
Oh, blimey.
I didn't get an erection anyway, so...
Right.
Just cuddles.
It's just cuddle. Oh,
Anybody,
bless
I'm not kidding you, she's lovely. I went in the house and I bought her some pyjamas and stuff in out of the way.
You're a proper gentleman, Bob.
Aye.
There you go. Some of the reasons why people buy strange, what we would consider strange, sometimes can be the sweetest reason. And then occasionally somebody wants to buy a gun. If you wanted to get hold of a gun, I would put money on it that with your connections in the past, you could probably make a phone call, go to a certain pub, 50 quid or 100 quid down and you'd have one.
I wouldn't have to leave the house.
Wouldn't have to leave the house, right?
Things cost a lot of money, but
yep.
Obviously if you want it, you can get it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Doesn't matter who you are, who you know. If you want it, you can get it.
If you could bring the readies, they'll give you the gear.
Well, that's the bottom dollar. Is it? You'll always meet some bloke in a dark, dingy bar. You know what I mean? That'll be able to take you into a back alley somewhere and give you a little backhand at. You know what I mean?
There you go. What weird things have you got? Remember talking to one of my uncles years ago, and he said, "Oh, do you want to see your great granddad's stuff from the First World War?" Yeah. And in a cupboard, airing cupboard, I seem to remember, he had a crystal set, which is like an old-fashioned radio. My great granddad's First World War helmet, his great coat, which is like a big overcoat, and his rifle. How come they didn't take them away from people when they landed? Had his rifle from the First World War. Amazing. Okay, what else are we talking about? Because we want loads of them tonight, so have a think, have a root around. Finding love after your partner passes. Hard, difficult, awkward. How long do you leave in between? Any stories to tell? Also, we hear 3 newspapers ran with this particular week. Geordie, Mackem and Smoggy accents will be completely lost within the next 30 years. You won't have any accent. I think that would be a huge loss. But isn't that like saying Scottish people won't speak Scottish? I think in the north, Northerners are always going to be Northern, aren't they? With the classic phrase like, where wawa? Where wawa? Last night, Billy, where wawa? What do you think? Do tell. Have you noticed it kind of easing? And also pressure on the government to end travel rules, open up all of the borders for holidays. Where do you stand on that? Scientists now saying you'll never eliminate the different strains of COVID, so what's the government waiting for? And also, I want to talk about hobbies. This is something that I've noticed Hollywood McShane doing in quiet moments behind the scenes. And it's strange hobbies. Tom Daly, you know, the diver at the Olympics, he was seen sitting there knitting. And I know I've seen Hollywood doing this, just quietly. Pair of socks or a vest, I'm not sure. So have you got an odd hobby? Do tell. Harry, the Prince, on our switchboard tonight. Give him a call, 01914883188. Eddie Mullen is a lucky soul. He's listening from Turkey. Well, absolute respect to you. We did a week live from Istanbul a couple of years back. Loved it. That fish market down by the river where all the fish are still alive. Super cool. And the mysterious Blue Mosque. The Topkapi Palace. What a place. One of the best views I've ever seen. Okay, let's crack on. Odd hobbies. Got any odd hobbies as well? We'll have that too. The Olympics look like they're starting to become quite cool. Now that we're getting to the juicy bits. Been informed today that all over 50s are to get a booster for the vaccine. Does that mean the other vaccines, the two, didn't work? They're making it... Well, you're not going to get the same one you had last time. You're going to get this other one now, and it's for one of the alternative strains. Does that mean we're going to get chucked for every single new thing that comes about? Does seem a clot, but... hey-ho. The National Health Service has funded a jihadi bride's new false arm, and social services put her in a £500,000 council house. How stupid are we as a nation? What a soft touch. 01914883188. And a mother has a third child. She's been on maternity leave 3 out of the 4 years she's worked for this company. And her boss says surely she should be sacked. I can't keep paying for nobody to do her job. How can he sack her? It's maternity leave. So she has 24 kids in 25 years. She'll have 25 years with a company and only have worked 12 months. Doesn't seem fair on the gaffer, does it? What do you think? And number 10 are going to allow a new Scottish referendum. And listen out, Teesside. Parmo's, Middlesbrough's finest, and most of Teesside's in fairness. It's got 2,000 calories in the average Parmo, which is equal to 3 deep-fried Mars bars. How about that? Personally, I think that's something to be proud of. And also, the end of furlough means hundreds of thousands of job losses. People being forced to sell their properties. Some people are putting them up for sale now before they get into trouble with them. Are you on furlough? Have you heard? Are you staying? Or are they going to make you twist in the wind? 0191 488 3188. Swearing should be banned. And this is something that I have had trouble with. Usually not on purpose, but yeah, you got to be careful. What do you think? People have sworn for close to 25,000 years. Could we stop it even if we wanted to? And I love this idea. The UK are thinking about building a prison in Albania to put foreign criminals in because they can do it about 10 times cheaper than they can in Britain. And it's being welcomed by Albania's parliament. I think we should keep all our prisoners in Albania. 10th of the price. And you can say, but it's miles away from their family. Well, don't commit crime then. 0191 488 3188. What do you think? Now, I want to get starting something. So why don't we?
Welcome, everybody. Alan Robson with you again on another of our legendary ghost hunts. We are here in a place that used to be called Bleeder, and you can understand why they changed that to Blythe. Blythe, once the busiest port in all of Britain, sending off 60 million tons of coal. All of the coal from the northern coalfields came here to be shipped out. But there are a few dark stories here that I'm going to take you to a place that one of you guys sent us a message about. So we're following up what you wanted us to do. Kenny is also with us. Say hi to everybody, Kenny.
Hi, everyone.
You have to come over here because he's found, is it still there?
The jellyfish.
Yes, there is indeed a jellyfish there. I don't know whether you can see it. Hang on, I'll keep a hold of you, Tony.
It's moving, look.
Can you home in on it?
Just take the torch off.
Take the torch off it.
There you go. Yeah. There it is.
It's a jellyfish. It's pounding.
Yep.
Yeah, there it is. It's kind of. I don't know.
See it, isn't it?
Yeah, it might be easier if you come to the end of this little piece, Tony. It just, you know how obsessed we are with wildlife. Take the torch off it, Ken.
There you go.
Oh, not sure whether you can see that. Hang on, see if you can see it with a. There it is. Do you see it there? Bright.
The torch is not doing it.
It's not doing it.
No.
Anyway, it's a blessing that some wild something, and I was actually joking to Kenny, if you see something more interesting than a fish, tell me, and he did. So, Hollywood Tony McShane's behind the camera,
Hello.
Of course. Why are we here? Well, first of all, I have to tell you about a story that happened at the far end. Can you light up the pier on the opposite side and take it right to the end, Ken? No, across the other side and right there you go. If you take that down on the other side of the pier, you've got very similar tides to the ones that you have at Holy Island, just higher up, and also around Bamborough. Really persistent rip tides. And across there, and I'm taking you back to World War II, one of the worst wartime disasters that Blythe suffered was a horrific chain of events. And I'll tell you why. If you go to the very end, there's a beach kind of over there, and the 9th Warwickshire Infantry came here to train and to get a boat to head across to Europe. When they saw the beach, it was a beautiful day. Blythe, I tell you, a lot of people come to Blythe, especially along the coastline when the weather's fine. So there they were, beautiful beach. Sergeant, you've got to give us a chance. Can we pop in for a swim? Now, when somebody suggested going in for a swim, 2 or 3 of these lads said, we've never even seen the sea before. So they went into the sea, not knowing that there was a strong riptide and horrific undercurrents. And the undercurrents took them away. 9 young men died. 9 of them. And they were all from that regiment. And it was a damn shame. Wonderful young men ready to face the war. The youngest was 17. Edward Bevan, Thomas Forty, Bill Henderson, Eddie Noy and his brother Chris, Fred Shale, Jesse Bloom, Harry Southern, and Lieutenant Sergeant John Riley. They were the people who were lost. And all of the other people in the regiment formed a human chain, went out into the sea and tried to scoop, because they're all swirling in the sea. So you can imagine people holding arm by arm by arm, heading out into the sea, trying to pluck them up. And they did pluck them. But where could they send them? They were a long way from the nearest hospital. So they went to a building that we're going to in 5 minutes' time, and the bodies were laid out in the cellar of a building that was used as a temporary military hospital. We're going to that building. Now, the juice is, if you come over here, it is said that when they brought the bodies along here, you got to remember that we're talking, no vehicles carried them. They were carried on stretchers or between the arms of 2 survivors, the dead body of the man. They came to the stairs. Now, the stair, you can see, this is new, it's modern. It's been fairly recently built. provided by Blythe Valley Borough Council, and thank you very much for it. They've done a lovely job. But the old stairs used to be here. So they walked along the stairs carrying them, and they got to this point and they realised they were too heavy because they'd carried them half a mile probably to get them to where there was a military doctor. Now it's said, the ghost story of this neck of the woods is that if you look down into the water off the stairs, now that's here, you're supposed to see images of their faces, the faces of the dead soldiers. And sometimes people have said that late at night they hear noises and it's the sound of drowning men. The place that has witnessed stuff more than ever is actually along here. Don't know whether you can make this out, but without putting our torches on it, come over here and just look, because it's along this First Avenue, really. Pretty damn creepy. And you can see there's an onrush of water over there. And it's down here. Supposed to witness the faces. Dead, lying in the reed. Can you make out any faces? Your torch is...
It's radio. Now, I must admit, we got a competition today, as ever. Oh, what's it competition? What is it? 4 clues for 4 famous musical acts. And you've got to tell me what links the 4 acts together. I think it's probably the trickiest one we've ever delivered. See how plugged in and super wise you lot are tonight. Have a think, and having thunk, give us a call. 4 clues. You got to tell us in general what the 4 artists have in common, if you can. Anyway, let's crack on and head in the general direction of Bonnie, Scotland, because in Dumfries and Galway we have Jackie. Hello, Jackie.
Hello, Alan. How are you?
I'm very well. Great to talk to you.
And you.
I'm pining for the Scottish, anywhere with that special light that Scotland seems to have.
Oh, the dark sky.
It's just, there's a thing just between light and dark.
Yeah.
That twilight thing. There's no country on earth that has the magnificence of the colours of Scotland. And I don't care what anybody says. Magnificent.
Totally agree.
But anyway, great to have you with us.
I've been sending sunset pictures over to my mother and father in Newcastle, Alan.
Yeah.
Because obviously they used to have a caravan in Dalbeatty and they used to love the sunset.
Yeah, I bet.
They're absolutely fabulous. And the dark skies we get over here are out of this world. You can nearly touch the stars.
A velvet cloth of diamonds.
Yes, definitely.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Hey, no, special place. Right, you're talking about something that I've noticed, and I wonder how many other people have noticed too. Do tell.
Well, I didn't get on last week because you run short of time and what have you, but
sure.
Obviously I've been to the shops and what have you since last weekend. The shelves around our way, Newton Stewart, Wigtownshire way, they're getting lower and lower and lower. And people are saying it's Brexit, this, that and t'other, but when you talk to the shop assistants, it's not. The warehouses are absolutely chock-a-block.
So the problem, because I heard it was drivers.
It's the drivers are getting pinged on their phones because they've got this COVID app.
Right.
And it's just having a knock-on effect.
Mm.
And it's having a knock-on effect with the forklift drivers in the warehouses, the staff, extra staff, that other staff that's working in the warehouse, and so it continues and continues.
And yet I would have thought, in fairness, surely the driver, because staff in a supermarket are dealing with the public 24/7 pretty much.
That's right,
But the driver, out of anybody, would be the one he's on his own in a cab for like 9 hours a day.
Well, that's it, because it's usually the shop staff with the forklifts. They come and empty the wagons and everything.
Absolutely.
I think then the driver normally just comes out, stretches his leg, arches his back, and...
Absolutely. Has a cigarette, eats a sandwich, gets back in the cab and drives the empty one back again.
So I just don't know, unless it's one that, in the motorway cafes, etc.
Right. I mean, I suppose it's possible, but when you go into it, and I don't know whether the rules say...
Yeah.
If you go into a motorway services, everybody's supposed to sign in. But trust me, I've been to various parts of the country, as far down as London, driving.
Right.
Within the last couple of weeks. I stopped at about 8 or 9 services. Nobody signs anything. So you're not likely going to get pinged there.
Aye.
So I presume you could only get pinged if there's an outbreak at a supermarket and the driver's told... You've been to that supermarket, therefore you're pinged.
Yeah.
Even if his visit to the supermarket didn't involve him going in the store, he was outside a store that had an outbreak, so it gets pinged. I suppose. I'd love to hear from a lorry driver as to what the crack is, because I presume, like any motorist travelling up and down the country, you can stop anywhere you like, and unless it's like a restaurant, or in some cases... Pubs ask you, when you get to the door, have you got the thing that I can, or will you give us your phone number? And everybody gives a phone number, but strangely forgets the last digit of their own telephone.
Right, yeah.
Because that's what happens, because most people don't want to get pinged, so they lose work and they lose money and da-di-da.
That's it, yeah.
So people tell porkies.
I mean, Alan, how does that actually work, getting pinged? How would they know, say, I don't know, Joe Bloggs next door to me got pinged. So he would have to isolate for, 10 days?
Yeah, well, let's say that the bloke next door to you works for, and I'm going to pick, there's plenty of other supermarkets I could choose, but let's say Tesco's.
Right.
Works for Tesco, Asda, Morrison's, whichever.
Yeah.
He works for them. Elsie, who works in the back... setting all the putting the things on trays to go out to the shop floor.
Yeah.
She's got it. Therefore, anybody that works with her, and technically anybody in the shop could get pinged.
Right.
But they're not. So how come it's lorry drivers getting pinged? Because
I don't know.
If a supermarket has had an incident, and people are told anybody that's had dealings with that person has to stay away, that should shut the supermarket. And I'm not aware of any supermarket that's ever closed.
No, I'm not.
I know pubs, restaurants and leisure centres, and all of them have closed.
Yeah.
I've never heard of a supermarket doing it.
I mean, when it first, the first ever outbreak, where it was all do-do-do and everybody was, terrified. A manager of a local supermarket got it, and we were thinking, well, that supermarket, if it's so contagious, and this happened to that, surely that supermarket, I mean, I'll not name the supermarket, surely that supermarket's got to close down, and the staff will have to go home and isolate. No, not a thing.
Because if you think about it, let's say for sake of argument, because I've got absolute respect for the shop staff, because they haven't had a choice right from the beginning. They've been forced to work right the way through this, even if they're poorly, and all the kind of pressure's been on them to make sure you keep that kettle boiling. And I just don't know how they've physically managed it. But if let's say you shut down one supermarket, then everybody goes to the next. Now, let's say an extra 25% go to that supermarket.
Yeah.
What's the odds that one person in that 25% is going to have it and ping, then everybody in that supermarket's got it, and that means 50% increased traffic in the other two.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to get pinged and we starve to death. So
that's right.
Has the government just said, supermarkets, you can ping as much as you like, but you're going to work? Sounds
weird,
like it, doesn't it, though?
It's absolutely weird the way it's going on. Because, like I say, it just seems to be the lorry drivers that are getting hit. In the big warehouse. I mean, one guy I was talking to in one of the local supermarkets, he said, he says, I mean, obviously they just work part-time in the supermarket, 6 hours a day or something like that, their shift.
Yeah.
They said, they're wanting on my time off to go up to Glasgow and Edinburgh and all the other cities to go and help out in this big supermarket and use our own transport to ferry stuff back down.
What?
Back down to the Dumfries and Galloway, aye.
How many pallets of anything are you going to get in a Renault Clio?
Exactly. Honestly.
Unbelievable, isn't
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But
And
you see,
obviously it
and
is.
I know if you chuck Brexit in, let's just say it has some impact, and
Yeah.
it probably has.
Mm-hmm.
Could be positive, could be negative, we don't really know.
Yeah.
But add that to what I've seen, and I've been in a lot of the supermarkets, and there are empty shelves everywhere. I mean, it's not just, oh, well, that week they had a bad week, they couldn't get the X, Y, or Z. Most of them have got huge gaps, and you go to them and you say, you've got the little label out for this. Do you have any? And they do that thing where they get their little gadget and they go ping to the whatever the label is, and they go, oh no, everything we've got's out. Which means that whole empty shelf stays empty, and there's nothing to put in it.
Yeah.
I can't ever remember that ever happening.
No, I can't. I mean, you go shopping on a Friday for like a weekend shop and what have you.
Yeah.
And I was low on fabric conditioner, believe it or not.
Right.
And could I get a bottle of fabric conditioner? Could I heck? And that was 1, 2, 4 shops I went in.
That's just
Couldn't get the bottle of fabric conditioner.
Just odd. No wonder you're awake this time of night with them scratchy sheets.
Oh, I know, it's terrible. I mean, it's not a necessity, Alan, if you know what I mean, but I just
That's
thought,
nice.
this is weird, this place, isn't it?
That's nice. No, absolutely.
What do you think about this, the young'uns, a kebab for a job?
A kebab. It's a gimmick. Will it work? It probably will, in a lot of cases. I have doubted the whole jabby thing right from the beginning. I know I've been juked twice.
I have.
I'm going with it because I want to travel. I want to see the world. First chance I get, I want to go south. I want to go Scotland. I want to go across to Ireland. I just want to go. And you're told, well, you'll never be able to go unless you got this passport-y thing, which I think goes totally against your basic human rights.
Of course it does,
But they want everybody jabbed for whatever reason.
Do you think we'll ever get to the reason, to the bottom of it, Alan?
I think it'll be in 25 years' time when most of the people that were most irritated and annoyed by it all are too old to do anything about it. That's what
I'll be in that category then.
That's what I think. I don't trust any of them for any of the reasons.
No.
And now we're told that everybody needs to get another booster
I'm not.
Of a different company.
No.
I think it's the Pfizer one they want everybody to get for this new super strong strain. And what happened to the, well, we're going to get herd immunity? Do you notice everybody's kind of said out and pressed on with respect to that? I don't know.
Last November, I'm type 2 diabetes, a diabetic like you, and I got my first flu jab on the day of my birthday last November.
What a present.
I was ill for 10 days.
Yeah.
After that, floored with it, Alan.
Yeah.
And then in the following March, got the first COVID, and I think it was 6 or 7 weeks later, got the second one. And I said, I am never getting the flu shot again. The first one I've ever had. I'm 56, and I was floored, and I'm not going to put my body through that again. I usually get a bad bout of the flu every year, Alan, and I bed myself and get over it myself. The lemon sips, the feeling sorry for yourself, and the one thing into the, and do you know what I mean?
Yeah, you do. You get on with it. You don't stop.
No.
You just feel raggy for a few days.
Yeah. I mean, I live in the countryside, so I'm not mixing with people and what have you. All I mix with is cows and sheep.
Right.
And my two dogs. So And I thought, nah, I am not, no way am I putting myself through that, and I'm not having a COVID top-up neither.
No, well, you see, they want everybody to get jabbed over and over and over again by the sound of things. And do I believe that there's microchips following you everywhere? I don't, to be honest. I don't know what the game is, but if it feels like the game's all about control.
Definitely.
It might not even be anything to do with health in the long term. It may be they've discovered ways to frighten the public so they do what we tell them. And if that's what they wanted to achieve, they've done it.
Yeah. Well, I used to be well into conspiracy theories, Alan, and that, in a few years ago, like preaching all of like this that's happening now, you were a tin hat job.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it's all coming true, isn't it? They're controlling everybody. Yeah. I mean, people that's going out protesting against it, wanting the job, and it's my body. I totally agree with them.
Yeah, well, but you got to remember the press and the media have all pretty much gone, they're all crackers. They're causing the problem, and because they're told to, and they have to say that kind of stuff. So I would kind of like our freedom back in general terms. However, I don't take people dying lightly in any shape or form.
No.
And if what they're doing is saving lives, hurrah! It just feels like there's a rabbit off somewhere.
Definitely.
And we'll find out. We'll find out about it in years and years to come. But I don't think it'll be any time soon, Laura.
No, I don't think so.
Hey, but great talking to you, Jackie. Thank you for coming on.
Can I just say hello to all the guys in chat who I normally chat with?
No problem. You just did. Thanks, Jack.
Okay, thanks, Alan.
Take care, love. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Jackie in Dumfries and Galloway, they've noticed the empty shelves. Drivers, are you a driver? What's the crack? What's going on? How come you lot are getting pinged more than anybody else? 0191 488 3188. Let's go to Wallsend. We got Natalie there. Hi, Natalie.
Hello.
Hello there. Good evening. What can we do for you?
It's just quickly, my dad was sadly diagnosed with motor neurons disease a couple of months ago.
I'm so sorry.
So I'm doing a sponsored walk for him in September.
Lovely. Where you going and how far is it and how can we help?
We're going from St Mary's Lighthouse.
Right.
And we're going to try and make it to North Shields Marina.
Whoa, that's a canny walk. That's a walk. Whew.
Yes.
Right. Hey, well, good luck. When are you doing this?
It's the 25th of September.
25th of September. What time so that people can work? How many of you is doing it?
Roughly at the moment, there's about 8 or 9 of us, but we're hoping to get a few more to try and join me along the way.
Right. And any stretcher bearers?
No.
By the time you get to Tynemouth, you might need a couple. Right, so the 25th, 8 or 9 people. What time are you starting?
Around about 10, half 10-ish.
10, half 10 in the morning of the 25th, and you'll be getting to North Shields probably the next day, I'm thinking.
More than likely, yeah.
Hey, well, good luck, and I hope you're taking buckets and stuff to rattle and everything.
Yes, we're getting them all sent out through the Motor Neuron Disease Society, so
Excellent.
we're getting all that sent out.
That is good.
And I'm also doing a raffle as well.
Right, brilliant.
We're going to be selling raffle tickets and just getting anything we can really to go within those prizes.
No, it's good. It's a great thing to do. How is your dad?
He's all right at the moment. At the moment, you can get this thing where you can bank his voice.
Right,
So if and when it comes to it, if he does lose his voice, it's a machine, like a tablet thing that he can type in, but it'll be his voice.
Oh, that's sweet. That's really good.
It won't be like a robotic voice.
No, it'll be your dad speaking like your dad.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
and also there's my little boy who's 5. We've just told him Grandad's got a sore leg.
Right. Yeah, it's too heavy to get into all that kind of stuff.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. But they've actually sent a little workbook out for us to help to explain it to him if and when the time comes.
Yeah. I think you got a year or two yet, Mina.
Oh yes, hopefully, definitely.
Yeah. Oh well, let's hope that Dad can hold on to as much as he can for as long as he can. That's the deal.
Yes, hope so.
I hope so too. But hey, very proud of you. On the 25th, 10:30. at St Mary's Lighthouse. My goodness. Doesn't matter what shoes you wear. Blisterville is coming your way. I know, good luck. And you have as much fun with that as well. It's a tribute to your dad. How much love you feel for him. That's lovely. Well
it
done.
Certainly is.
Thanks,
Thank you
Nat.
very much.
Bless you. And is it online anywhere if people can follow you or help in any way?
I have set up a Just Giving page.
Right, go for it. What's it called? Just Giving?
It's Natalie Moore, and then it's Miles for Miles.
Miles for Miles. Right. Okay. Tremendous. Well, fingers crossed, Nat. Good luck. Let's know how you get on.
I will do. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. I'm guessing Rake Lane's probably where you're going to be ringing from, is it?
More than likely.
Thanks for calling. Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
How nice is that? Natalie and her pals, they've got no idea what they're getting into. Because we were up at, well, not at St Mary's Lighthouse, but very near to it, not so long ago, doing a ghosty ham nab. And I've driven past it 1 trillion times. Yet when you actually get out your car and you realise the distances involved, it's a long way from everywhere, St Mary's Lighthouse. It looks, it's just there. I can see it from a distance because it's a big thing. But, it's going to be interesting. Let us head to Bedlington where we find Lynn. Hello, Lynn.
Hello, Alan. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. What can we do for you tonight?
Well, Alan, I thought you would be the perfect person to speak to because I need some divorce advice.
Right, okay. Well, it is a path I have trod a few times, so what kind of help are you talking about?
Well, I've wrote a little poem at Christmas time, which if you don't mind, I'll read to kind of explain the situation slightly.
Certainly, go for it.
We met at work over a sink washing dishes. At first it seemed you were the man to fulfil all my wishes. We had a hand fasting, a day of magic and myth. I thought it was just hay fever when you kept having to sniff. You're cute just like Rudolph, your nose all aglow. I didn't realise it was the drugs up your nose they did go. I found out, but I pride myself on being open-minded, only to find out that by love I'd been blinded. You went out for milk and were gone for a day. You got high as a kite in a hotel you did stay. You said we weren't working, suggested a trial separation. I would stay in our flat in Bedlington Station. I said yes, my fingers crossed behind my back. I wanted you gone, but I wanted no flack. I waited 2 years for a cheaper divorce. I timed it so badly, it was lockdown, of course. All this time you lived in my flat, you didn't pay my way because you were a twit. With your girlfriend you lived, but she didn't mind because she was also a div. I worked 60 hours, 2 mortgages to pay. I just could not wait for you to go far away. I have just one wish, and I know that is true. All I want for Christmas is to finally get rid of you.
And can I just thank you for the twit line? I think everybody at home got it, of course. Everybody knows what you say here. So he's still in a property of yours then, is he?
Well, he's not now, but he was.
What a class. That's such a drag, right.
I've been separated for like more than 3 years now.
And we just won't... Because I thought if you were separated for 3 years, then you could just sign off a divorce.
Well, yes, but the problem is, Alan, that I am getting married to Queen Eyesight soon. Finally, because he won't sign, even though he's had a girlfriend for nearly the whole time we've been separated. He's just been controlling.
Right.
And the other problem is when I met him. I mean, we were only married actually for 9 months, but we were together for 2.5 years altogether.
Right.
But we bought a house together, and I had a house in Cramlington, which is, you've lived in Cramlington, and you know it's all leasehold, so I couldn't sell it.
Right.
So I put him on that mortgage and bought another flat with him. So, I know.
Right. So you've got 2 properties, and he's not. You see, this is the thing that a lot of people fall into. If you buy as a couple, and one half of the couple says, "Well, I'm not going to pay any money,"
yes,
everything falls onto you because the banks, the building societies, and everybody that has a bill goes to where the money is, not where the money isn't.
Exactly, they don't care.
So I mean, what is your main problem at the moment then?
Well, my main problem, I've thought is like I've filled in my form to do my financial settlement.
Right.
But my problem really is that he's unlikely to comply with anything. So he's probably just going to completely ignore it because, I don't know, you've been divorced, I presume you did the financial bit?
Sadly, yes.
Yeah. You have to fill in a form. You're meant to do mediation.
Mm-hmm.
Unless, it was it was a sort of a slightly abusive, if you can guess, probably by my home.
Yeah.
So I don't have to do the mediation anyway. I can go straight to court.
Right.
But then they are meant to both fill in the form with all your earnings, income, savings, debts, whatever. And he's unlikely to do that, so I don't know how I get around that, really.
Right. Unfortunately, you're in the hands of people who are expensive.
Well, I'm going to self-represent, to be honest, because I've already spent 1,800.
Cheapest.
Right. I've spent 3,000 paying the mortgage for him to live free for a year, and his girlfriend. And
what a damn cheek the whole thing is, and it's sinful.
It is.
It is absolutely sinful. In my experience, usually the good person, this is awful to say, but the good person gets shafted, the bad person gets away with more than they deserve, more than they never deserve.
I know.
In this particular case, you're going to get your nice eye, and you'll be technically and legally free of him in everything except finances. What do you want off him? Because it sounds to me like you're not going to get anything off him, really, are you? I mean, in the grand scheme of things. So the financial agreement is moot, isn't it? I mean, or do you just have to pay? You can't pay his bills forever.
Well, it's because he's on the two mortgages. He's not living in the property now.
Right.
He's not living in either property now.
So have you been to the lenders? And I'm guessing they're both the same people. Are they the bank?
No, it's two different banks. But they won't take his... Well, he has to sign to get his name off the mortgage. And
he'll not do that?
Yeah, no.
Right.
So then I'm kind of stuck paying. I can't sell. I can't remortgage. I can't, well...
You could bankrupt.
Yes, but then I would have nowhere to live. So.
Right. Okay.
I prefer not to do that. And one of the flats I've owned for 24 years, the one in Cramlington, so I don't really want to...
And is that still leasehold? And are you running out of years?
Yes, I've only got 44 or something left, so it isn't, but I'll probably be in a care home by the time it runs out. So I'm not really.
Blimey, you're looking on the bright side, aren't you?
I know.
Things will get better. Things are already better because you already realise this guy's a tosspot and you're going to get shot.
Oh, yeah.
So whatever financial thing you've got to drop to get shot of him is worth it. It doesn't feel like it. Can you live happily in Cramlington then? Can you live?
I am going to move back to Cramlington, actually.
Right.
I am.
Good. So that solves a little bit of it, and then you pay your bills for the Cramlington property. That one's not so much an issue. Can you hand the mortgage back to the, say, look, we can't afford to pay this anymore? Are they prepared to deal, the other bank? Have you spoken to them about it?
I haven't really thought about that, to be honest. But that's probably about 20 grand in equity, so
right.
It's just kind of not low. I mean, I know it's not loads, but it's a lot.
No, it is a fortune. But you see, if you can't afford to pay the second mortgage, and who would? He's not there anymore. Can you rent it?
Well, the one in Cramlington was rented out, but my tenants have made a bit of a mess of it, so yeah.
Yeah, well, can you not get a better tenant to live in the other property to at least take the edge off it?
I have been doing that, but before that I was working 50, 60 hours a week to pay the two mortgages, and I still owe my cousin money because I had to borrow money off it to pay the lump sum off it. So
right.
Yeah, I mean, it's more because obviously, he's obviously not a very nice person. As
no, I understand. Well, you can tell. You can tell that you're the decent one, and you're trying desperately to hold everything together.
Yeah.
If I was in your situation, I would go to the bank that has the other property.
Yeah.
Because Cramlington and you sound like it's a fit, and you don't mind living there, and that would be cool. If you could offload the other side and get whatever equity back from the property, and I mean, it's probably not going to be the full amount, but you might get some back. Can you not?
Yeah.
Can you not go to the bank and say, look?
Well, the problem is he has to sign because he's on the deeds and everything, so I can't do anything unless I think somehow on the divorce you can take them to court and then the judge can sign for you, but that's probably going to be expensive too.
Yeah, but if you're self-representing, it'll not be as expensive.
No, true.
But I think if I were in your shoes, the first port of call would be to go to the bank, ask to have a chat with a mortgage advisor.
Yeah.
And say, this is the situation. Because trust me, banks will have had this 1,000 times. This is not going to be brand new. And they may well have the advice and say, well, look, we can write to them and say, failure to, you've not provided any money for this property, failure to sign the documents over to your partner so that she can relinquish the property.
Yeah.
We will take you to court and da-da-da. There may well be a mechanism that's already in place for this. You want to find out if there is. And if there isn't, you are essentially going to have to try and see, is there any other way, remembering that the mortgage is currently being paid not by him in any shape or form. Yes, his name's attached to it, but if you can't afford to pay it, how can you get as much money back? And okay, it's in both names.
Yeah.
But you're one of the names. For example, if I had a joint account with my partner and I bought a property, she could do all the dealings. To be honest, you don't need to have her sitting next to me to do the deal. She doesn't need me to be sitting next to her to do the deal. She can just go and say, this is the situation. The other party's not paying. I can only afford one of the two mortgages that I've got. What can I do about this? And they'll tell you. It's just you've not thought about that because, to be honest, you are so like me. You just try and keep everything going. Just keep everything going, because if I keep all the plates spinning, one plate might have to smash, and you might not get as much money back as you first thought. I think that's the deal you've got to get into your head. But have a talk with a bank first, because that's not going to cost you a penny, and they'll probably know what your next step's supposed to be. All right?
They probably do, yes.
Good luck to you. I hope it works out.
Thank you, Alan.
Thanks, Lynn. You take care. Oh, what a damn shame. Right, quick break. Should have been a tune there, but something was far more important. So we're going to take a fast break into the news, and I'll talk to you on the other side.
There's another story from along this neck of the woods, because that's gripping. It's a good tale, but there's another one about two murderers. And this time we take you back to 1918. The war's coming to an end. One man called Ambrose Quinn, he's been working away as an aircraft engineer on Sopwith Camels, you know, those bi-wing planes. This was a time when the Royal Air Force was in its infancy. He comes back home and he hears that his girlfriend, whose name was Quinn, surname was Quinn, her surname was Quinn, but they were not related. She'd been cheating. Not only had she been cheating, she'd been selling her body to get by, not having any money coming in, not having a job. And at the time, there wasn't too many factories that women could work in here in Blythe. However, Quinn confronted her, and in readiness for whatever she had to say, he took with him out of his kitchen a serrated kitchen knife. And she said, well, you weren't here. Who's going to provide for me if you're not here? You chose to join up. So what do you expect me to do? And she walked away from him. She looked out to the sea, where roughly we are now. It was certainly on here, on the old staves that were here first. And he stood behind her, feeling that knife in his pocket. And he pulled the knife out. He held it to her throat and tried to pull it to kill her. But he was really surprised because the blade wouldn't go through the skin. And he pulled harder. She began to choke. But the knife still wouldn't go through her skin. It was not designed for that purpose. It had a serrated edge. It was designed to saw. And that's what he did. He sawed through her skin. He sawed through her windpipe until she fell onto the stairs dead. Now, that's one murder. There was another guy, and his name, I cannot quite remember. It'll come back to me. He was also arrested on the same day. He killed his girlfriend with a sharp gully knife. Not here, but up that street there. And his situation was exactly the same. He had a girlfriend. She cheated on him. He wanted revenge. And he was determined to get it. Now, their story, his name was Ernie Scott and his girlfriend was called Rebecca. So he decided he was going to see an end to her too. So he slit her throat. And on the 19th of November in 1919, both men were taken to Newcastle, where they were hanged by the neck until they were dead. However, the weird thing, these are two murders that took place within 2 months of one another. Both men were hanged one after the other on the same gallows. Their favourite place in all the world was Blythe Staithes. They're supposed to walk along places like this late at night. Can he light them up? This is where they're supposed to walk. Along here. A nightly walk. Murderers choosing to return in death to the place where they used to walk. It's an amazing story. And again, these things you never find out about. But they were hanged on the same day in Newcastle. And now, we're here. Now let's go around the front of this thing. We might bump into a dead murderer on our way, or light up one of those faces that we were talking about before. This is quite spooky down here, mind. Yeah. Look at that. The weed almost looks like a face. Look.
That's what I was saying before, yeah.
Coming off the back of Rio, I think experience helped me. So I'm hugely grateful for the support I received.
That came after Charlotte Worthington's gold with a stunning display in the BMX women's freestyle. Swimmer Duncan Scott claimed Britain's record 4th medal at the same games, 1 gold and 3 silvers. But there was heartbreak for sprinter Zarnell Hughes, who was disqualified from the men's 100 metre final after a false start. Elsewhere, Hibs came from behind to win 3-2 at Motherwell. And in Formula One, Lewis Hamilton leads the drivers standing by 8 after being promoted second at a chaotic Hungarian Grand Prix. From Sky News, I'm Eddie Hayes.
Thanks, Eddie. Alan Robson with you. Greatest Hits Radio Northeast. So get ready. Pick up your telephone. Give us a call right now. Harry's waiting for you on the switchboard. Give him a ring. 0191 488 3188. Wherever you happen to be, use the code. Give us a bell. Get cracking. Right. First of 4 clues. Each clue will give you the name of a famous act, an act that has had greatest hits. And you've got to put those 4 greatest hitsters together and tell me what link all of the names. Okay, clue number 1. Had greatest hits with The Witch's Promise and Life's a Long Song. Standing on one leg with a flute. Had greatest hits with The Witch's Promise and Life's a Long Song. Their biggest album, probably Aqualung. What was the name of the band? Write that down. That's your first clue. We have 3 more clues to come, but who's that? Get ready. And, of course, we've got a whole batch of stars coming out at night, but let's get the people that count. That's you guys. Jezza is next in Jarrow. Hi, Jezza.
Hi, mate. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks for calling in. What do you want to talk about?
Well, what it is, I'm after a minor miracle, if anybody can possibly help me.
Yeah.
What it is, I've got a mobility scooter.
Right.
And I've also got a pet carrier.
Right.
And I need, if there's anybody out there, like a welder or someone, that could come up with a way of attaching the trailer to the mobility scooter. Because I don't know if you remember, I was on the phone during the first pandemic thing. I do photography, people in the Northeast.
Yes, I know who you are, but I didn't know the pet thing. So what have you got that goes in the pet carrier? You talking about a dog here?
Yeah, I've got two golden Labradors, but my girl's old now and her hips are going.
So you want something comfy to take her around in?
Yeah, I've got the pet carrier and the trailer. I just need a way of connecting it together.
Right, so there you go. I think that is as good an explanation as we're going to get. Is there anyone?
From me, yeah.
Have you tried talking to a garage? It's the kind of stuff that a local garage might do and not charge you hardly anything for.
Well, I actually I rang Halfords.
Halfords, right? Oh, that makes sense.
They just said there was no way of doing it.
There's no
I'm
way.
Sure there is.
There's a way to do everything in this day and age. Right, yeah. So Night Owls, is there anybody that can attach a pet trailer that he already has to his mobility scooter? It's not like you're going to be doing 50 mile an hour or anything.
Good God, no.
You're tootling.
2 mile an hour.
You just tootle, absolutely. So is there anybody that can attach safely a pet trailer to a mobility scooter?
Yeah.
That's the deal.
Everybody in Newcastle knows Bobby and Bella.
Bobby and Bella, right.
They get their pictures taken with them all the time, and I just want to help her to be able to carry on coming out with us.
No, I understand that. So, Night Owls, is there anybody that has the capability of making that happen? Now, we know Halfords probably didn't want to get involved because it's not standard car stuff.
Exactly.
I understand that, and that's fair enough because I've got plenty of time for Halfords because they usually have a go to help you out. But somebody somewhere will be able to do this, to attach to a mobility scooter trailer, a pet trailer. That's what we're talking about.
Somebody wiser than me.
Yeah, and me. So, Niders, there's going to be plenty out there, I'd have thought. So, come on, pick up your telephone if you know or you got any tips, any hints. Now, you're based in Jarrow, Jezza, so presumably you're talking in that neck of the woods.
Yes, hopefully, because I don't drive.
Okay, so is there anybody in or around the Jarrow area or surrounds who can do this?
That'd be amazing.
And if you can, obviously a deal to be done behind closed doors. We'll sort that out. If we get any whispers, Jez, we'll get straight back to you, man.
That'd be brilliant. Also, I was also wondering if you're still up for featuring on my photography page.
Featuring? What do you mean? I'm not doing another naked spread for you.
Well, some people might like that, but no, I get that.
I doubt it.
It's from a street photography page, people in the Northeast.
Right.
And I just highlight the wonderful, strange, sometimes characters I meet along the way.
Right, okay. Well, I mean, if you meet me along the way, I've got no worries about that at all. Yeah. So what exactly is it that you need from me?
I would just love to feature you in some of your story, who you are, what, sort of thing.
Okay. Well, I'm sure
I've listened to you for a lot of years, and this is, the photography's a love of my life, what I love doing.
Understand that.
And you've been a big highlight in my years as well.
Well, bless you. We'll try and sort something out. Next time we do something in the vicinity, especially if we're anywhere near Jarrow.
That would be brilliant.
We'll give you a whistle because there's a place in Jarrow that I want to do.
That would be Jarrow Hall, I would think, is it?
It is. Well, we've done Jarrow Hall on radio. We kind of love to do it again, but this time on camera. So if we're about, happy to oblige, no worries. But good talking to you, Jez. Let's see if we get anything back about this trailer. Okay?
Brilliant. Thank you very much.
Thanks, man. Bye-bye. 01914 888 3188. Get them calls in. Get to those phones. Sounds like a catchphrase. Right, we have Linda, who's in Dunstan. Hello, Linda.
Hello, Alan.
Hello, Alan. What can we do for you today?
It's been a while since I spoke to you. I got so carried away with listening to all the calls I forget to cut the phone in.
It's all right, no worries. What can we do for you?
First of all, I mean, what I found out was about last week when we were on about first venues that we went to.
Yeah, absolutely.
My first thing I saved up for was Rory Gallagher, 1977. I think it was February.
My goodness.
The city, I believe it was the City Hall.
It was.
It was the most fantastic show I've ever seen. I mean,
do you know this? We're talking history here.
Oh.
We're talking history, messing with a kid. We're talking history, and I met Rory Gallagher in a bar at the top of Northumberland Street, just down one of the side streets, to interview him on a. I wanted him to come into the studio. He wouldn't do it, but he says, "I'll meet you in a bar in Newcastle." So I ended up meeting him and having a chat with him over a beer at lunchtime before the gig.
Yeah.
And he was just great. What a great player anyway. But
he was just
spectacular. That was
absolutely
great.
I don't think anybody can touch him. It's just a shame he died so young.
No, absolutely.
But Alan, do you know that we lived in the best period for music and venues to go to? I mean, think about the Mayfair. I've lost count of how many people I saw at the Mayfair, from Led Zeppelin, Who, Wizard, Free,
AC/DC,
Iron Maiden, you know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, people don't get the opportunity to see that standard of bands now without paying a small fortune.
I'm not even sure there are that standard of bands, and it's not like I'm looking over my shoulder with a rosy glow. If you look at what people are sourcing now, and I'm talking, if you go to your standard university and say, what are you listening to? You'll find very few people saying, "Oh, I'm mad keen on Dua Lipa." You know, they're saying they're sitting there in their Led Zeppelin T-shirt or their AC/DC T-shirt or
was it one
Pink
of the
Floyd.
first shows in the UK?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I'm sure it was, wasn't it? I remember at the time, and I remember Free was the last one they did.
It was, and if you remember, Paul Kossoff...
He broke his guitar, didn't he?
He did, absolutely.
But, I mean, it was like even the Origin, Emerson, Lake and Palmer. I mean, we got 3 shows in one, because the first one, the electricity went off, 2/3 of the way through. Yeah. Then we got invited back, and I believe there was a strike or something on. So they came back and did a 3rd show for us. I mean, 3 shows. How many groups would do that now?
But in fairness, how many times can you see somebody stick a knife in a keyboard? You know, that's...
Very true.
That's kind of...
Not get electrocuted. That was the amazing thing.
Yeah, but if you think about it, the Queen's cinema, which was just up and around the corner from the Odeon, they put gigs on. I saw T-Rex were on and The Who were on at the Odeon. Deep Purple did the Odeon too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, people used to say, "Oh, we need a big venue," you know, like an arena. And obviously
they didn't have a big stage.
No, it was only a 2,000-seater. But the bands were they were just starting to realise there's 2,000 people in here and we could have got 3,000. We need a bigger venue. Yeah. So I kind of understand, because it's always about the money. Always. But the good thing was that if you couldn't get a small place to do a gig in, they'd learnt eventually to go and, take over a football stadium.
Yeah.
Or Gateshead International Stadium.
I mean, I used to even go up to Vic and Longbow. You know, I mean, I always remember years ago paying 50p, and there was this group on, and they were okay, you know what I mean? And I thought, well, and the first song they came up with was Maggie May.
Wow.
And we all know where that went to.
Absolutely.
But with 50p to go and see them. And a friend and I were camping at Beadnell, and we hid wellies in the sort of hedges outside, and then sort of toddled along to sort of the Vake and Longbow, and had an amazing time. But that Rod Stewart, I think it was the Small Faces, wasn't he, sang with there?
Yeah, he was, yeah.
And 50p. But, I mean, from my son being 4 years old, I mean, he's 46 now, every sort of Christmas I took him to a concert. And, I mean, it was nearly always Lindisfarne then, because he loved Lindisfarne, and so did I.
So do I.
But it was was just a brilliant time. But I mean, Glastonbury, I was 50 the first time I went to Glastonbury.
Cheapest.
And Neil Diamond was on.
Oh.
And electricity went off.
Yeah.
So it must be something about power and electricity, you know.
You're a jinx, that's what it is.
I'm a jinx.
You're a jinx, Linda.
I always remember sort of going back to my tent on the first night. Could I get into my sleeping bag? Didn't matter how hard I tried, I couldn't get in. And I couldn't find the torch. And I woke up the next morning, my feet were in my haversack. So that proves what a good time I had. You know, it was brilliant. But, I mean, I feel sorry for people today don't have the opportunity to say things that we did. You know, and yes, there's some good groups, but there's nothing to the standard what we went. The only thing I regret is not going to see Fleetwood Mac. You know,
right,
twice I got the opportunity and twice something happened and I didn't actually get. And that's the one band I would love to have seen.
Tony's just coming on saying the Odeon. My mum saw Bill Haley and the Comets at the Odeon. How about that?
There you go.
So it just shows you that it's...
I can't say I've seen them.
But it just shows you how long bands have been finding... You know, where there's a will, there's a way. If you want to play a gig and you need a sizable gig...
Yeah.
And they were one of the biggest rock and roll bands of their time. And we're talking middle to late 50s.
I know.
They were happening
too
even...
old for you and I, though.
Well, of
we
course.
Were just tiny babies then.
But you never know. It might have been Tony. That might have been the night that Tony's mum conceived. You never know. They might have been shaking, rattling, and rolling.
Ooh.
That's what I'm thinking.
Well,
you can never tell.
Go. Did you see the BMX today?
The BMFs.
The BMX, right?
The BMX.
Cycling.
Yes, I did with Charlotte.
I tell you what, I'm so glad I'm not term with that. I would have been having kittens. The trick she was doing. I mean, astounding, fantastic. What a talent, you know. And I do hope it carries on for many years to come in the Olympics. Because, I mean, yes, my son had a BMX bike and he used to do tournaments and different things. But I tell you what, I've never seen tricks like they did today.
No, it was amazing. But as I said, to me, at the beginning of the Olympics, it was kind of like... It doesn't even feel like the Olympics. There's no audience and people should be cheering and yelling and it's just starting to pep up because at least other athletes are filling the stands, are trying to make a bit of racket.
The trouble is they're sending them back within sort of 48 hours of finishing their sort of disciplines, which is a shame, really. Because, I mean, all the athletes that are there could provide a decent, not fantastic audience, but decent audience, give it some more atmosphere.
And they're members of the same team, so you'd have thought it's just what should happen. I mean,
it is.
How badly do they need to... Can they not let them hang on for a couple of days, you know?
No.
It's just very sad.
It is. But never mind, you know, let's hope Paris is a different thing altogether.
Absolutely.
You know,
let's get the world back.
I show, always have done, right from the hot and heavy days.
Hey.
You know what I mean?
Right. Hoorah!
As you can tell by all the bands I've mentioned.
I know, absolutely. Quality stuff.
But thanks, Alan, and thank you for all the people who phone up every week to make my sort of evening a hell of a lot nicer. Living by myself, it's great to hear people talking.
Well, thanks for being with us, darling. You take care.
Right, bye.
Bye-bye. There is Linda from Dunstan talking about some of the old venues. What about some of the old pubs? I remember doing some great gigs in Sunderland Mayfair, Newcastle Road. Oh. And time for a bit of a tune, I think. Yeah. First of all, let's talk to Journey, Neil Shern. He's got a ghost story.
Ever seen a ghost or had a strange spooky anything in your life?
Yes, I have actually, and it's a wild story. And if you ever talk to anybody else that was in the band from the Perry era, like Jonathan Cain or anybody else, they'll tell you the same thing.
What happened?
We were upstate New York, and we were working with mixing actually a few songs with Bob Clearmountain, and that was the studio he was working in.
Right.
And it was a farm studio. And apparently in the ground were, a lot of old souls, Indian souls that were died there. And so I'd heard all kinds of stories about this place, about it being haunted. And I just thought it was a load of crap. And I just never believed in it. And I said, fine, they had all these different houses that surrounded the main farm area and where the studio was. And I said, stick me in the most haunted one. I don't believe any of this. And so I went out there, and it had snowed that night. And it was about 2 feet of snow. And I remember walking out there, and there was no, footprints, and nobody going up to the front door, except for mine. And so I walk in, I see this one trail of mine, going in there. And I'm getting ready to go to bed. I've been up with the guys. We've been drinking, carrying on like idiots. And, and I'm well drunk, and I'm going up, and I'm sort of staying in this loft above. And I go up there, and I'm kind of like I'm hearing things, and things are kind of feeling weird, like I'm feeling the presence of somebody. And so I decide I'm going to go downstairs, and there was this window that was like half open with the drapes, which let like the moonlight come in a bit. It was snowing out, and I remember I sat down in a chair for whatever reason, and I lit a cigarette, and I'm sitting there and I'm smoking a cigarette, and I blow out this puff of smoke. And when I blew this puff of smoke out with the light that was coming through the window, I saw this thing walk by me, and it was an actual, like, I was like, didn't believe it. So I just sat there and kept smoking a cigarette, and it kept walking back and forth. And once in a while you could see, almost tell that the head was moving over and looking at me. And then by the time I finished the cigarette, I'm just sitting there, and I'm kind of like in shock. Wow. Not scared, but in shock of what I just witnessed, And I put the cigarette out, and the ghost just turned around, walked straight out, like through the door. And then about, 2 minutes after it left, I went looking outside the door, and I saw footsteps leaving, the place I had walked in where I hadn't left yet. Right. And everybody else experienced even worse. I mean, that was like a friendly ghost. Nothing happened weird at all. It was just an experience that I believed in ghosts now. I saw one. Fantastic. And so, but Jonathan was in another house staying, I believe, with Ross, and they said someone was in between the walls, beating on the wall, trying to get out of the wall. And they actually had, an Indian like witch doctor come in the next day and light the sage and do the whole ceremony to make the spirits just chill out. It was wild, man. Everybody left there, and it's like every time my hairs are standing up right now on my arm. Every time I talk about it, my fur stands up on my arms. Yeah.
Because they're great at these things. Watch out for the faces.
Send some screenshots in if you get them.
Yes, please. And don't forget, share. We want as many shares. And if you do, the ever-present Night Owl badge is waiting there for you. If you would please share as much as you can. Get the message out to as many people as possible. But, Kenny, can you remember when we were doing the gibbet?
Yes.
And we were talking about a man called the Earl of Derwentwater. Right. Now, this man owned Blythe and Newsham, the Earl of Derwentwater. Right. Now, he wanted this land for shooting, fishing, and for all of his practices, the things that he got a kick out of. He didn't even want people living here. So this is 1707. So when he took part in the Jacobite rebellion, it was desperate to pick the right side. He picked the Scots because the Scottish at that time were very, very strong under the Stuarts. However, they were defeated. And that led to the Earl of Derwentwater getting his head chopped off. Now, that left his land with nobody on it. So it was sold to a couple of people who turned it into an industrial heartland. Now, I know that doesn't necessarily, and certainly back then, didn't make it the most beautiful place in the world, but it became internationally famous as a port, as an industrial centre, and that's where this comes in. If we're here, we've got to see a sculpture that was put together by a Sunderland lad, actually, and it's called The Spirit of the Staithes. And it's along here. Always keep a watch out for some dead murderers. Watch out for them dead murderers, man. It's in a bin.
I don't know. Yeah.
This is his statue, and he wanted it to depict industry and rebirth and the movement of the sea, and how putting steel and the sea together side by side would give emphasis for a regeneration of the place. I don't think we've got enough statues of any kind. Is this my thing? Personally, it's all right. It does give that kind of, I wish it wasn't rusty. I wish it had been regularly painted maybe or primed, or left just completely rusty, because I don't think the smeary bits work in its favour. But it's a wonderful sculpture. Does it symbolise what it's said to symbolise? Absolutely. And the spirit of the stairs. Now, talking of the spirit of the stairs makes you want to go looking for some more of them heads. We've got a few people fishing off here. We're checking for any heads lurking about, our fingers clawing to get back onto dry land. You've got to remember that the one thing that we haven't spoken very much about is the war, because Blythe is synonymous with cool war stories. The building that we're going to in the First World War had its roof blown off by a Zeppelin. I mean, wow. A Zeppelin flew over. 1915 was the year. There's a couple of photographs of the Zeppelin over Blythe if you want to Google away. And it flew over Key Road, where it dropped a bomb, which is near, I think the building we're going to is actually on Key Road, and it blew the roof off. It then carried on south. It went to West Sleekburn. It went to roughly where Cramlington is now, and it headed down to the big munitions factories and dropped some bombs over there. Oh, hang on, we've got to find some heads here. This is definitely where the heads are. Kenny, you've got the strongest torch. Shine away. We must find something tonight. We've got to get something in there. You've got to remember that wartime, we've got the Haunted Beach. Blythe was a huge submarine base used for training. Joan Halpin's uncle from Blythe was blown out of his bed, landing in the garden of his house. Mines were dropped on the golf course at Plessy Road. They were looking for the railway tracks, didn't hit them, which meant the coal that fueled the war kept going through. Kids started collecting shrapnel and sometimes got shot at by German planes. And there's a lovely story about a young kid called Edward Porter, who was 12 years of age. And Tony, for those of you that are of a certain age or have parents that are old enough to remember the war, will tell you that a lot of kids used to go hunting for shrapnel, little bits of bombs that had dropped and exploded. And Edward Porter was 12, and he lived roughly where the South Beach estate is now. Back then, it was just dotted with a couple of terraced houses. And he found a big bit of shrapnel. So he got his bogey. Now, I know a lot of you will not necessarily know what a bogey is. Did you have a bogey?
I love bogies.
Bogies were essentially, before we had, because people didn't have cardboard boxes.
No, they didn't.
Every box, every fruit box was made of wood.
Of course it was.
So they took the bits of wood apart, get two sets of pram wheels, nail them on, and you would go down hills. And if you were clever, if your dad was clever, he could make it so that one could go that way, one could go that way, with a steer with a bit of rope. I had bogies. Kenny had bogies. Frankly, he's still got bogies. No, we had them, but this kid found this huge bit of shrapnel. So decided him and his mates were going to lump it onto his bogey and he was going to take it home, because usually bits of bombs were like hand-shaped. And they were quite often red hot following the huge explosion. And here in Blythe, they took out entire streets of houses. Entire streets here. A lot of people were killed. So, anyway, he's travelling from South Beach, not quite this far, over there. He lived in a house about 300 yards in that direction. He gets to his front door and says, Dad, you never guess. I got the biggest bit of shrapnel in the world. It was an unexploded bomb. And they had to bring soldiers out who took it very quickly on his bogey to the beach and blew it up. But it could have took his entire row houses out. So along here we go. So many stories of bombings. There were battles over here, because you got to remember, this is the place where the coal fueled the war effort. Yeah. So the Germans were trying to perhaps not have huge salt mills and salt coolers and what have you, but they had places where boats would come in, stock up with coal and carry coal throughout. Oh, blimey, this is spooky down here again, isn't it? I'm sorry, we can't help ourselves. This is kind of gripping down here. You expect a body to come. You expect, some floaty. And I don't know about you, it's probably because most...
Hello, Alan. Nice to talk to you again.
Always a pleasure. What you got for us tonight, then?
I've got to say, this thing live was brilliant. I loved it.
Good stuff. I must say, the second half was stunning down in those cellars. Can't believe the stuff that we got there. Amazing.
I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And dare I say it, Tony's balls flashing.
What can we say? What we least expected, but my goodness, you couldn't argue about what you got down there, man.
It was brilliant. I loved it.
Good.
Anyway, this thing, coincidentally, you were talking about Dua Lipa.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This thing, just talk about her, seeing it in it. Basically, these questions, some of these were from last week, because I was going to get on, but there wasn't time. He couldn't call me. But anyway, basically, you know what I'm going to say, I think. Somebody took a photograph of her without her permission at the airport, and she actually seen this photograph, so she used it on the website. Now the people that took the photograph without her permission are suing her for about £1 million or whatever. No, I'm not kidding, really. It's been in... Oh, did you see it?
I heard the story, absolutely, yeah.
Is that true? Can they do that?
Yeah, well, yes, I suppose so. The thing is that everybody now has gone on, because got to remember that music artists aren't making any money from the music that they make.
Yeah.
Because once it's out there, everybody gets it. And it's kind of like, that's free. So where can they make their money? Well, they make it from music rights. That means if a Beans commercial wants to use their tune, or do they want to sing on a TV program or a film, you can make a lot of money doing all those kind of things. And the other thing that they spend a lot of money on is their musical rights. Now, if somebody takes a photograph, everything in that photograph belongs to them, and they have the right to sell it, but nobody else has the right to use it. Now, they're not going to get millions and zillions and squillions. I'll be really surprised if they get more than a couple of hundred, and it might cost them a solicitor and $4,000 to get it. But they can do it if it's their image and it belongs to them. Even though they've took a picture of... You see, there is a theory that if you're famous and you're out in a public place, you're fair game. If you were in a private place and somebody's taking a sneaky, that's something different. But if you're in a public place, there's a presumption that, well, you're famous, people are going to take photographs of you.
It just seems so ridiculous. It's her own picture, and she's getting sued for showing people her own picture.
Yeah, crazy.
You know, honestly, to me, I mean, you know the rules more than me, but it just seems ridiculous to me. It really does.
It does to me too, but it's the world we're living in now, where there's very little money around, so people are scraping for whatever they can get. I would have thought if it was my picture and I took a nice shot and she liked it and she wanted to use it, I'd be flattered. I'd have thought,
so would I.
Get on, pet, dip your bread, enjoy.
Yeah.
And that would do, but not to everybody.
Yeah. I'll move on to my next one very fast, very quickly.
No worries.
I don't know if you know about this, but I read about this on some, the newspaper websites and that. BBC Parliament Do you know to transmit BBC Parliament 24 hours a day? Does it cost like money when they're transmitting, even though if they're just repeating something?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. All right, because for some reason now they've gone 24 hours a day. They're just basically showing the same as BBC News, and sometimes of the day they're showing BBC News on BBC Parliament and BBC One. It's supposed to be a money-saving thing, so why don't they just switch BBC Parliament off because they're not using it for whatever?
Well, it's probably a long-term deal that they made. Yeah, it's interesting because if you go back a ways, lots of interesting things happened in Parliament. You know, they talked about everything, they argued about everything, they discussed stuff. And then came COVID, where they didn't want to get Parliament involved, emergency powers, we can do what we like. So therefore, there was little to nothing happening in Parliament. So they didn't have much to show. In some cases, there was nobody actually in there for, like, days at a time. So what are you going to show? Well, you show repeats or bits of news just to fill until, at 4 o'clock this afternoon, they're coming in to discuss the white paper on whatever. So you're always going to get a ton of fill. But when it's busy and it's kicking off, people want to see it.
This is apparently a cost-saving thing. They've like made people redundant, and they're not going to be shown like House of Lords and all sorts of things. They're not going to be shown all this now. They're only going to be shown like live when like it's Prime Minister, that kind of thing. Yeah. So basically, 24 hours a day for the last week or so, I've noticed it, and that's why I looked it up on the web, like, and it's on the likes of, like all the national newspaper websites are running with it and stuff like that, and saying, oh well, they're just basically going to show like the news channel until like further notice, till they start sitting again after the summer recess. I just thought, like, it's costing like electricity to transmit whatever.
Switch it off. Yeah, but you see, there will always be an audience. It's not a big audience, but there'll always be an audience of somebody that'll sit there and go, oh, I wonder what this is. And it's just the news channel. Just they haven't looked on the news channel, so they think, oh, I'll watch some of this. And they just keep it going so that nobody else takes the channel, because obviously there's frequencies and what have you, and they want to keep for themselves the ones that they've got. Everybody's trying to save money. Everybody's cutting back because, let's face it, over the last 2 years, nobody's made any money anywhere.
Yeah. Can I just fill it with, like, I don't know, stick movies on or something? Or they're not allowed to do that?
Well,
not really. Like, so people would watch it then.
If they've gone to the regulators and said it's kind of like, and I know this was badly abused when it came in. A previous radio station in the Northeast got their licence saying they were a country and western station, and as soon as they got their licence, they didn't play any country and western. They played pop music in competition to us and many others. And it should have been stamped on. It wasn't. That's just how it was. Since then, and since times like that, what television especially, if they say, this is a channel that we want just for Prime Minister's Question Time and everything that happens in the House of Commons, that's what they have to do with it. And if they can't play that, they have to play things that are in keeping with it, which probably means BBC News. And they couldn't put on comedy and Tom and Jerry's up now. They couldn't be that flexible. If you say you're going to do this is the movie channel, what have you got to put on there? Movies. You can't put TV. It's got to be a film. And once you've told the regulators what you're providing, you got to stick to that. Otherwise, you can lose your license for that channel.
Yeah. Well, there's my question answered. Anyway, on the one where I've spoke to you before now about, and I'm going to ask you it anyway. Don't worry, I haven't looked the name up, so I can't say it because I don't know it, even though I know it's on that Hansard thing somewhere. All I'm going to say is Soldier F, and he was named in Parliament. You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do.
Yeah. I don't know the guy's name, so I can't say it anyway.
Sure.
But even though it was named in Parliament by that MP from Northern Ireland, whoever he was, even on the news channels, they were reporting that he'd named him, but they still weren't saying the name. And as you know, it's on Hansard, so anyone can look it up. If you were to name that soldier now, would you get into trouble?
Yes.
But why? If he said, I'm just reporting on what's been said in Parliament.
Yeah, let's say he's called Rich from Stockton.
Yeah.
For the sake of argument, and say, today Rich from Stockton was outed by such and such, such and such. You are just repeating the crime. So somebody has committed, you see, because they've been under privilege, they can't be prosecuted. But anybody that's not under privilege, in other words, outside the house, if anybody else says it, then it becomes a crime. So I'd be committing a crime. The people with a privilege, and isn't this always the way, people with a dosh don't have to take a dive. If anybody should dare copy them, they go down like a ton of bricks, and they could be sued.
So you would get into trouble, really, even if you just reported what he'd said?
Yes.
So what if he come out of Parliament and said it in an interview? Would he get into trouble then?
Yes, because he's not under the privilege of the House.
I can't follow these rules. It really is one rule for them, isn't it? It really is.
Well, absolutely, and he probably would have been advised by the chief whip that he shouldn't have done that, but once he's done it, because he's privileged, they get away with it. It could have some impact on whether he's promoted within his party.
Yeah.
But that's the only thing, the only slap he's going to get.
So just to take it a little step further, do you know them? I don't know the names now. Obviously, Venables and killed that little kid.
Yes, Jimmy Bulger's killers.
That's right. Yeah. So somebody obviously they've got a new name identity.
Thompson was the other one.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. I think one of them was a bit naughty and he ended up in jail again for certain nasty things, but that's by the by.
Yeah.
So if somebody in Parliament said, they're called so-and-so and so-and-so now, and they live in such and such area, that person says that in Parliament, nothing can happen to him.
No. But what would happen is other people on the streets would talk about it, smash their windows, chase them out of town, and the British public would then have to give them a new identity somewhere else, their third one, and pay for a new house, give them a job, all that kind of stuff that they don't deserve.
But so why are they allowed to? I know I'm being going on a bit, but why are they allowed to say it when it could cause so much trouble? Really?
Well, they're privileged, and I mean legally they're told that they shouldn't do it, and I don't know why they would do it. I don't think they've ever done something like that. Give you an example of something that happened to me. There was a child murderess called Mary Bell. Don't know whether you know the story.
I know the story. Before me time, but I know the story.
From, I suppose you could argue, my child. I think it was about 62. I think it was
somewhere up your way, wasn't it, as well?
It was in the West End. It was in Scotswood in Newcastle. And two deaths. And Mary Bell and another young girl. And Mary Bell was found to be the main perpetrator. Now, when she got out, they gave her a new name and resettled her somewhere in the country.
Yeah.
Somewhere south. And somebody rang me and told me what her new name was. Offay, I used to add. Offay.
Yeah.
This is going to break because I'm not going to give the name, but it was a stupid name to pick. This was not a name that could hide. This was a name that was just a different kind, an outrageous name.
Yeah.
And I knew about it. And then I heard that somebody in the north had leaked the name, and people were starting to realise that was Mary Bell, so she was going to have to move from the south and be given another new name because somebody leaked it. Now, each time you change somebody's name and have to resituate them, you're talking between £100,000 and £200,000 of your money and my money for somebody who's killed children.
Yeah.
I'm not in favour of such things. Truly, I don't think if you've proven to kill children, even if you're a child yourself, I don't think you should ever get out of prison. That's my own personal belief. I'm not saying anybody else says, this is not the company line. That's my point of view. And I certainly don't want to spend hundreds of thousands of pounds on these people when there's thoroughly decent people losing their jobs left, right and centre all over the place. So people who are in positions of privilege in the House of Commons or whatever shouldn't leak those kind of things, because it ends up costing us all an absolute fortune. So hopefully they won't do that. But it's kind of like that story I told earlier, the NHS funding a jihadi bride's false arm that she lost fighting against us.
That was it, yeah.
What? So
unbelievable, isn't it?
And then, but then put her in a 500 grand council house. Are we stupid?
What? I know it makes my blood boil. It really does.
Yeah,
and I'm probably not alone with saying that as well.
I don't think so. No, not at all.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway, I'll move quickly on to the very last one.
Okay.
Because I'll be here all night. I just want to quicken about the all these people crossing the channel in these
boats. Inflatables and such. Yes.
Basically, I'm just looking at it from the other side. What it was, I saw a report on it was on GMTV, on ITV, ITV News Crew, and I don't know if it was live, but they actually said, the French Navy escorted a boat across the border in the middle of the English Channel, dumped it near the ITV crew, and then shot off back into their own water. I don't know how true that is, but ITV, I can't see them lying about that kind of thing. But what I wanted to ask, like all these, I'll call them illegal immigrants, who are in France without any documentation at all, because when they get here they say, we've got no documentation. So they're in France and I'm assuming they've got no documentation. How come France let so many people, probably thousands, without having any documentation, stay in their country when they don't know who any of them are?
Well, in most cases they don't. They put them into blocks that are defended, secure blocks, and they check them all out. And if they have a good reason, if they're refugees, if their lives are at risk and all those kind of things, they check them out, because they always say that they are. And then they check out who their real names are. Otherwise, they don't process them at all. They just send them back to where they come from. If, however, and this is where 90% of the problem that Britain have now, previously, when we were the EU, we defended each other's borders.
Yeah.
Britain leave, all of Europe don't have to defend our borders anymore. In fact, if somebody comes and there's 30 people on the back of this truck, where they going? They're going to Britain. They don't want to stay in France. Good. Let them on their way. Why should they stop them? They're not going to be a problem to France. They're going across the channel. There's a boat. There's 100 people on this huge boat. Right. We'll get our boat to make sure that they don't come to any harm. And once they get to the middle point where they get into British waters, we'll turn around and go back to France. Then they're being human. They're making sure that those people that want to get to Britain get there safely. They're not France's problem anymore. They're Britain's problem. And that's the deal that we made when we came out of Brexit. We defended everybody's borders. That's not what Britain wanted. Britain wanted to break free of it. They've broken free. This is one of the things that comes with the package.
So why is she sending that Priti Patel? Why is she sending all the millions over for him to try and stop him? Why doesn't she just stop sending the money over? I seen her on the news. It was a week or so ago, and she said, I've sent. You might have seen. I've sent 53 million quid over to go and sort it out. Or is that just sound bites and she hasn't sent out?
Well, who knows is the answer. Just the French have said, if you expect us to do anything now, you have to pay us for it. We were doing that as a matter of neighbourly. You look after us, we look after you. It was mutual back scratching when everybody was in the same group together. Now you're not in the group. If you want us to do any stopping people coming across, pay us. So, according to what we're hearing, she sent a whole batch of money over, and the French are now coming to terms with trying to put a stop to some of it. If I was the French, I would be so tempted to say, you didn't want us to do it. You didn't want us. If you don't want us, Why should we bother? Why should we go the extra yard to stop these people coming over?
Yeah, I know.
I
think
you see, I kind of get it. Yeah.
Yeah, I do myself, really, when you put it like that. But I think before long, if something isn't done, I think there's going to be a hell of a disaster, and there's going to be a hell of a lot of them. You know, like a boat gets sunk with maybe 50, because you've seen how full they are.
Yeah, I would hate to think so. Rich, I must move on, though. I want to try and get some more people on. But thank you for calling.
Okay. Thank you very much, Alan. Take
Good
care.
as ever.
Bye-bye now.
Cheers, Rich. Bye-bye. Over to Adam, who's in Gateshead. Hi, Adam. Hello.
Hey, Alan.
Hello there. What can we do for you?
Well, first of all, I wanted to thank you for from the Boars Railway to present day to the Blythe Ghost Hunt. You've helped keep me sane through this lockdown.
Oh, right. I'm glad you're enjoying it. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
The stuff from Robson's World and everything as well is brilliant.
That's great. Good on you. Thank you.
And you're probably sick of hearing my name because you mention it a lot on the debriefing. So.
No, absolutely. You're always doing good stuff, Adam. Thank you for getting involved.
And I noticed that you've got the mention that you might have gotten Gwen.
Well,
Well, I bought a doll and it's on its way to you, so you're going to have a
oh, that's super kind of you. Hey, well, thank you. We're seeing if we can pick Gwen up as well, if we possibly can. That's super kind.
I know Penny that was Tony that was obsessed with the doll, but it was brilliant what happened the other night. It was just brilliant.
It was sensational what occurred, and again, for anybody who's a doubter, seeing what happened down there was really quite something. But that's really sweet of you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Alan. It's very kind.
And what was the other thing I was going to... Oh, you want about strange things that you've got?
Yeah.
Poison.
You bound to have something strange, Adam. What is it?
Oh, well, I've got Rachel downstairs, but I'm not talking about that. We've got a whole house full of film collectibles because we collect film and TV memorabilia.
Oh, wow. Like what? What's your best?
Actually, it's the model house from A Nightmare on Elm Street, but it was made by a friend of mine. And he's done a really good job of it, and it was really nice of him to do it, you know?
Absolutely.
He's got bad hands, and he has difficulty working with his hands, but he did it as a favour for us.
Fantastic.
And it looks brilliant, because I love horror stuff.
Yeah.
But the weirdest thing we've got is his wife Rachel collected autographs before we met, and we collected loads since then. But when she was a little girl, she must have went to a SeaWorld place.
Right.
And she got a little photo of a seal with the seal's autograph.
Yeah, that's wacky enough.
We've still kept it with the autograph. It's still sitting there with them. In fact, I think it's in the same place as the card with the Kiwi up there.
Ah, sweet. No, but that's, I mean, if you're talking a weird thing that you've treasured all your life, a seal's autograph fits that perfect, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Brilliant.
And I thought it was dead sweet that you had that, but I'm just glad you didn't think it was real.
No, hey, it's just great that you've got a passion that you can go, and if you go around to car boot sales occasionally, you see a signed picture or an album signed by somebody. It's great to have that kind. It gives you something to do and mooch about and have a sport. No, good stuff. Anything else then, Adam?
No, I think I'll let you go because I don't want to hog all the time.
Hey, no worries, but thanks very much for everything, mate. We really appreciate you, and thanks for your support.
I'll be listening to your podcast tomorrow as well.
Look forward to it. Cheers, Adam. Catch you then, mate.
Yeah.
Bye-bye. 0191 488 3188. How good is that? Let's get another star coming out at night. And a woman with an amazing voice, Deena Carroll. I talked to her about passion. What are the other passions of Deena Carroll?
Animals.
What kind?
Dogs. I've got a dog and a cat. I'd like about 10 other dogs, 2 more cats, a couple of horses.
Why?
Have you ever lifted a dog's tail? There's fear and frightening things to be seen in a dog.
I find nothing offensive about dogs whatsoever.
Has it ever rubbed its bottom across your carpet?
Yes, she does. But I love her. She's my baby. I find that human beings do far more offensive things than animals, to be honest.
Not on your carpet.
Yeah.
Not on your carpet.
How do you know?
What more offensive thing has a man done on your carpet?
You're going into a different area now.
Maybe not. Okay. So, if you had the chance to get away and just do your thing without needing to be in the industry that you work in,
yes.
what would you do?
Some kind of animal rescue, without a doubt. And
you're a Bridget Bardot. She does that in France, doesn't she? She
yeah.
looks after cats and
so does Doris Day. There's a lot of people.
Right.
Some kind of rescue with animals, but I'd also like to build my own studio at some point one day. I'd really love to run a studio.
Yeah.
That's what I'd like. And maybe do a little writing and go into performing. I'd love to go to New York. If all fails at some point, I'm going to go to New York and sing in jazz clubs.
Oh, wow.
Seedy little jazz clubs. That is just, it's an odd little dream of mine, a romantic little dream that I've got for the future. Whilst, I'll do that in between running the studio.
Wild. Is Deena Carroll tough?
Deena Carroll's very sensitive but very strong.
Listen to that jellyfish. Surely Tony can see that one.
That's a bigger one.
And it's pulsing like that last one was.
Yeah. Just your torches are a bit bright.
Right. I'm not sure you'll see that.
I can see it without the torch.
Can you see it pulsing? Can you zoom in?
Can you get out a bit of the torch? Yeah, I can see it.
Take your torch off, Ken.
Right. Just need the side of it. Yeah, I can see it now.
There you go.
Little jellyfish there.
The weird thing is, there's a and I know I always risk every episode of this turning it into Nature Watch. There was a woman who decided she was going to swim and break a world record, swimming 100 miles from Cuba to the coast of Florida. And she was super strong. She swam like 20 miles a day, piece of pea. Mm-hmm. And she got in the water all day. She got halfway in a day, which is amazing. So she's still got to take a half-hour break in the water, can't get out of the water, then she keeps swimming. She took a half-hour break. They put the lights on the water to light her up, and hundreds of those tiny little box jellyfish, not the big ones, little tiny ones, and 10 of their stings can stop your heart. Oh. So she managed to get out of the water long enough, and she put a wetsuit on to stop them getting through the rubber. She went in, they lowered her back in the water within the time to keep the world record going. Beginning of the second half, they put the lights on, all the jellyfish came again. She had to get out of the water. It saved her life, the fact that she did. But it just goes to show, it doesn't take a great big thing in nature to kill you. But in the skies above here, another story about the place that we're going, you might notice that just down the street from where we're heading is actually a police station. It's where they moved from a beautiful Gothic building that if ever you're in Blythe, you can see. In fact, you might see the tip of it if we head over here. Can you light that up, Kenny? Yeah. There's you'll not see much in the darkness, but you'll see there's like a steeple. Light up the steeple, Kenny, right at the very top. No, that's the church. The steeple's there. Hang on. You see it? I'm lighting it. No, over there. See this? There it is. Yeah. That's the steeple of it in the distance. Kenny's just lighting it up. You see like an arrow mark. That's it. That's the old police station. There's a magistrate's court in there. There's a room for solicitors. There's a whole set of cells. Now, they moved the police station along the front. And I know a lot of people come down here because where is there safer to park than the car park outside the police station, which is just on the estuary front here. Now, where the police station stands used to be a hole because a Spitfire did battle in the skies over Blythe with a Messerschmitt and shot the Messerschmitt down, and it landed on a house on the corner of Key Road, where the police station now stands. So, arguably, where we're going, we could just maybe find ourselves with a German pilot ghost. And I think that would be pretty damn cool.
I was going to do that old rude joke there about the German airplane.
No, leave that alone. We all know that there was an aeroplane that sounded like a rude word. Leave it alone. Move on. Now, visitors to the Waller watched Blythe as it got covered with incendiary bombs. They hid in the back lanes, and people used to sleep in their clothes rather than have to get dressed if there was an air raid siren fired off. And also, along the beach and along these stays, there were anti-aircraft guns and searchlights covering the sky, kind of like your super torch, Kenny. When it gets darker, they were looking up into the sky as a thing for aeroplanes. And there used to be a fair bit of that. German planes used to strafe fishing boats, and one fishing boat from Blythe got so badly shot up, the one of the members of this captain's crew had his legs shot off by machine gun fire. And that was docking right here. On June the 2nd in 1941, Berwick was bombed, 11 people killed. The German bombers went home over Blythe, dumping any of their remaining bombs along the quayside. So as you can see, there's a hell of a military history here. And also, Second Lieutenant Thomas Lamb was killed in action, kind of sort of, in France with the Northumberland Fusiliers. He was teaching men to throw grenades when one of them kept it in his hand and blew the lieutenant up. On the 25th of April 41, they dropped parachute mines over Blythe, disintegrating Alexandra Crescent, Beaumont Street, Bondicar Terrace, Delaval Terrace, Redhead's Factory, Madison Street, and it then ended up killing a young girl called Catherine Turner and a man called McGrath, who was hit by a bomb and blown to tiny bits. So many stories to tell. And yet the one thing that I will read to you before we go in, because there's the building at the end that we're going into. That is where we're heading. But just before we do, just want to share one thing with you. If you were, and heaven forbid that we ever end up in a war situation again, and I know it's not going to be like, if you were going to hide,
yeah,
and you were going to, there were bombing, what would you do? There's an air raid, what would you do?
I would try and find a building underground.
Yes.
That's what I'd try and do.
Now, brilliant. But what happens if you live in Blythe? There's no underground buildings that you can go and hide in. What do?
Do you know, I wouldn't have a clue. Go on.
Well, what some people said was, get out of Blythe. Try and get into the countryside. Try and get into the middle of a park, away from any building. Yeah. Now, here is what was written on a poster that was put through every single door in Blythe. Now, this is back in the day. I've written it out. All lights out, torches and candles forbidden, because any glimpse of light can be seen from thousands of feet. Yeah. 1 in 5 people will be hurt during a blackout. Falling over things, tripping, falling, scraping. Always carry your gas mask. Make sure that you hide in the shelter in your backyard. Everybody was required to build a shelter. It was either an Anderson shelter or a Nissan hut. Get it? And it said that a shelter could survive a 100-pound bomb dropped 6 feet away if it was built properly. Problem was 99.9% weren't built properly, and a lot of people died. Houses and streets will be destroyed. Try and find a communal shelter, and there wasn't any. They didn't tell people that. We have built regional iron cages they built, most people back then ate around the kitchen table.
Yeah.
So around the kitchen table, they built an iron cage so that the children could sleep under the table, and if the house collapsed, the cage and the wood should save them. You'd die, but your children would be all right. Also, they were handing out football rattles. You know the old
benches
football rattles?
at 4 major railway stations. 2 rounds of swabs were taken at London Euston, Birmingham New Street, Liverpool Lime Street and Manchester Piccadilly in January and June. In sport, Team GB now has 10 gold medals at Tokyo 2020 after success for gymnast Matt Whitlock made him a triple Olympic champion. Swimmer Duncan Scott picked up 4 medals at the Games, a feat never achieved by a Briton before. Another of the day's record breakers was Charlotte Worthington. The chef turned BMX rider won the freestyle, pulling off the competition's first ever 360 backflip. Her parents Sarah and John say she's incredibly determined.
She knew she could do that trick because they'd spent the last couple of months doing that trick over and over again till she got it right.
Well, indeed, practising the whole run, really.
And practising the whole run, yeah.
And Britain's Lewis Hamilton is 8 points clear at the top of the F1 drivers' standings going into the summer break after coming second in the Hungarian Grand Prix. From Sky News, I'm Andy Hayes.
Thanks, Eddie. Alan Robson with you. Greatest Hits Radio Northeast. And we have a whole host of Corking shows across the day. Try and check them out if you can, and you will be absolutely stunned and surprised by the variety of great music from a very, very special time. Let us dive in and start taking calls. Time for your second clue, though. Remember, each clue will give you the name of a band or an artist. You've got to tell me what links all 4 bands together. Yes, they're all bands. Clue number 1. Had greatest hits with The Witch's Promise and Life's a Long Song. Their biggest album was probably Aqualung. Name the band. Led by Ian Anderson on one leg with a flute. Second clue. The band that changed its name to New Order. Okay, the band that became New Order. Okay, 2 clues down, 2 more clues to come. Then see if you can work out what links all of the answers together. Okay, it's a tricky one tonight. I did warn you. And let us proceed for our next night owl lurking in the darkness is Trevor, who's in Gateshead. Hello, Trevor.
Hello, mate.
Hi. Okay. Good, man. What can we do for you?
You all right, mate? A couple of things, mate.
Okay.
Well, I couldn't get on last week because I was very busy. You want about the COVID passport?
Yeah, what do you think?
It's like I've been listening all night since I came on, mate. It's like you said, it's a form of control.
Mm-hmm.
I remember Boris 7 months ago saying that it wasn't going to be compulsory, you wouldn't need to take it, it was going to be your own choice, and at the end of the day, mate, England doesn't do things like that, does it? Or they haven't done that, but it seems to me that's the direction they're going. You know?
Yeah.
And then last night, it was late last night, I was watching the news and I couldn't believe it. There was a lady in Scotland, I think she was your first caller tonight from Scotland.
Yeah.
And, wait, I'll say this in a minute, but can you remember when the government was saying that they're going to close all the takeaways down or close a lot of them down in the fast food outlets because of obese people and blah, 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 and this and that. It wasn't good for you. It wasn't. You shouldn't be eating fast food and takeaway food and that. They put a sugar tax on pop.
Yes.
And everybody loves pop, didn't they? Right?
Yeah.
So, what I'm saying is, right there, Alan, why last night they're not offering a kebab for a job, like?
Yeah. Yeah. We want you to eat better, but if you'll agree to it, we'll give you a kebab.
Exactly. But it's bad for your health.
It does sound a desperate thing to blind. It's like I'll give you a packet of Smarties if you get the jar. It's just a desperate bribe, isn't it?
He's a drug dealer, isn't he?
I suppose so. Right.
Do you know what I mean? You're like, where are you coming from? I mean, it's like 1 minute you're saying this, the next minute you're saying that. Are people now who've had their job or their double job not started to think, why have we got to have this? It's like I've just said again 2 seconds ago, mate. It's control. So why are they wanting people, and we will never ever know? Why are they making people have this job?
Well, I mean, on the face of it, though, on the face of it, they're saying the first 2 jabs are really good, and they've offered you a whole batch of protection, and most people have been saved by it. But you need a booster for this this additional.
Exactly. So what's all that about?
Well, it means you need a booster because the first vaccine doesn't work on the new variant, so therefore you need a stronger one to kill off this variant, and then there'll be another variant, and then another variant, and
Yes, exactly,
chemical companies are making billions on the back of all of this. I've got no doubt.
Made all these variants. I was watching a video, and people probably think I'm mad and all that. I am a conspiracy theorist, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But what was it? It was I can't even remember now because I was thinking. Honestly, there's that many things I've been thinking about it. But
Yeah.
It's mad. But anyway,
There's a lot of videos out there suggesting a lot of different stuff. I've seen a few of them myself.
It's crazy, though, mate. It's mad.
Well, we'll not find out any time soon, no, Trev. That's for sure.
No, not anyway. The other one, mate, because I'm sick of talking about that. I can't remember what I was going to say.
It's all right.
Do me, no. Sorry, Alan.
It's all right. No worries.
Sorry, Liberty. Newcastle and St Maximum.
Yeah.
You heard about that?
I've heard there's a bid in from Everton. Yeah.
Yeah, 50 million. They're going to down to 70.
Well, they might, but you see, I think if Everton made a hint to walk away even at 50, they'd probably get him.
They will, mate. Of course they will, because of Mike Ashley.
Mm-hmm.
You know, mate, he do well. It kills us to see it. Because I love Newcastle to bits, but he would probably better resell by going there because Rafa's there now.
Yeah. It's difficult though, isn't it? Because I know Rafa wanted to come back to Newcastle, and when we realised that wasn't going to happen, I thought he was very courageous to take on Everton, especially after what he said about them when he was a Liverpool manager.
But I tell you what, he's got to be in for some grief this season, didn't he? When he got to Anfield.
I think when he loses, that's going to be an issue. If he keeps winning for them, that's another thing. He's a good manager.
I think he'll get them up there, you know.
I think he will too.
I do, definitely. But like you see, he's taking it. He's got some big cojones going there. Like, you know what I mean?
That's probably a Spanish term, isn't it? Cojones. Probably. Hey, no, that's good stuff.
No, but the other thing, mate,
what was that?
Where's your summer gone?
Oh, well, I mean, in fairness, we had more of a summer this year, I think, than we've ever had for a long time. So
last year was good, though. Last summer was canny good.
Right.
There's been a few tornadoes knocking about the country, hasn't there? Water spouts and that. We've had a canny funny week after all that 2 weeks of hot weather.
It'll be back. I've got a feeling we're going to have an Indian summer. I think is what they call it. So fingers crossed.
Right, I'm keeping my fingers crossed for the sun. If we didn't.
All right. Play me. Thanks a lot, Trev. All the best.
No bother.
Thanks, man.
Take care, mate, right?
Bye-bye. Trevor there. With a mixture, as ever. Joe's in Gateshead too. Hello, Joe.
Hello, Alan. Long time no here.
Hello, welcome back. Good to talk to you. What you got for me?
Just to see if you are eating that, you know.
I'm sound, man. Thank you very much. Thanks for asking. How you doing?
I'm great.
Good.
Still happily married?
Yes, absolutely.
You beat the record, kid.
We're getting there. Right, so what's your subject? What do you want to chat about?
Just about this virus, you know.
Right.
The way I look around, there's going to be another one.
Right.
You know, because You look it up again like you did the last two. And I'm thinking, hang on a minute, and he's saying, oh, you know, we should be all right. Nah.
You think there's more coming?
Yeah.
Oh, blame me, I hope not. Also, you were going to tell me about your first gig you saw. Who was it then, Joseph?
Rod Stewart.
Oh, blame me, what a first gig to go to.
He's 19, in the 70s, he was at the City Hall.
Uh-huh.
With the Faces.
Brilliant. Oh, what a gig that would have been.
Oh, fantastic. He was drunk.
He was drunk. I bet he still knocked it out.
Oh, he did. He did, aye.
A superstar. I mean, I thought the Faces, to be honest, were just a great rock and roll band.
Aye.
Proper gritty, down and dirty. Ronnie Wood playing guitar, for heaven's sake. He had a great band behind him.
He's with the Stones now, though, isn't he?
That's right. Yeah. Best place for him. He's it's like the home he always was meant to end up. Ronnie Wood. He's comfortable with the Stones.
Aye.
That's good stuff. Anything else, then?
That's it, mate.
Hey, dead easy, short and sharp. Cheers, Joe.
Cheers, Al.
Thanks for coming on. How about that? Yeah, the Faces. I know a lot of people. I know he took a few of his people with him. Ronnie Lane, of course, was ill, and Ian McClagden on keyboards. I seem to remember. Ronnie Wood, Kenny Jones drumming. 01914883188. Nice mixture. And don't forget, you got still 2 more clues to come, and I'm talking to some more stars that come out at night round about past. But let's move across to Brian, I think, who's in Sunderland. Hello, Brian.
Hello, Alan. Been a long time.
It has. Welcome home. What can we do for you?
Yeah, Alan, I just wanted to talk about the continuation of, it's a bit of a dodgy subject, but child abuse, especially within the children's homes.
Uh-huh.
i.e. Operation Rose, you know?
Yes.
And how I thought what we done in the 90s. And remember when we went to the High Court,
yes.
You know,
yeah.
But that was litigation. Even though we got a public apology, you know,
yeah.
And it's a way that the law has changed, not for the survivor or the victim, but it's more for them. It's more for the defence,
for the criminal.
Yeah.
Right. So,
you know,
what's changed then? How has the law changed to defend them?
What they're doing now is. Before they go to court, if it's a litigation, say they're suing for money, which either way, that's respect for me, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, they're offering money before it goes to court.
What, so that if the guy pays if the man or the woman pays the money, he doesn't have to go to court, he doesn't have to...
But even though I took my compensation, but I pumped that into National Association of People Abused in London, you know,
right.
So I couldn't use that money.
Uh-huh.
But what the insurance company's doing now, instead of saying what they owed, instead of paying them like 100,000 because of what they went through, yeah, they're now offering say 30,000 before it goes to court. So now it's judged on how much it will cost, not the evidence of that person being a victim or being a victim of somebody of a sex situation, right. You know.
Can you explain something to me though? Because no matter, and I know your situation, but there'll be a lot of people listening in that doesn't. But no matter how much money they threw in your direction, that's not enough for what you went through.
Well, I put it this way, Alan. After all this time, you know, in a way, I was forced into taking litigation action, but I waited till the last minute.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And we actually changed the law, as you're aware.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I was under the impression it was criminal law that were changing.
And it was civil law.
It was civil law, yes.
Oh, blimey, right.
You know, and another thing for them people, because I know there's a couple of people in the chat who actually knows, you know, but that's not about me. But what does concern me now even after all these 32 years, Alan, is a new sex education for minors what's coming in next year.
What's that then? Tell me more about it. What exactly do you mean? How's it changing?
How's it changing? They're reducing the age limit down to, seriously, people might think this is false, but all I say to them is just look up and find out for yourselves while they're bringing it in for 4 and 5 year olds.
Oh, right.
And as you know, Alan, all these years that I've done this, that in fact I'm getting upset now because that upsets me.
How can you explain something as intricate, and it is incredibly intricate, the whole sexual thing? How can you explain that to a 4 and a 5 year old?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't understand.
What gets me, right? As a child, you play with all sorts of toys, don't you?
Mm-hmm. Of course.
Yeah. But what they're saying now is, and it's literally coming to this, because a boy of 4 or 5 plays with a female toy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the people must think that they actually want to be a female.
Well, that's ridiculous.
In my view, after all these years, Alan, I've spoken to some very high up people, you know.
Yeah.
But my view is now there's too much politics coming into the image, into child abuse. There's too much politics coming into it. It's all ruled by top politics, not by the fact that survivors can't get justice.
Mm.
There's a lot more coming out about paedophiles in Parliament.
Sure. I've heard various whispers. I'm just stunned, though, that it comes down to civil law and they're trying to avoid... Because if a paedophile pays off, say, and I don't know how wealthy paedophiles are, but I have heard that some have trafficked children and sold images and all that, all the sick stuff. So some of them may well have money. If I thought that somebody'd been... And let's not draw a veil over it. If somebody had been raping children, I wouldn't say, well, as long as he pays his 30 grand, that's fine, because that's prostituting the children, and it's not their fault.
Mm-hmm. You hit it on the nail, Alan, because I got the compensation, even though I couldn't get justice. As you know, it took 2 weeks of deliberation. That's a long time.
It is, yeah.
But what they were looking at during them 2 weeks was the evidence.
Mm.
As you probably remember, when all the photos were in the paper, what had happened is I'd spoke to the police officer at the time, Mike Stafford, who was a good copper, and he said, well, one of the reasons was because the photos were in the paper of all the alleged abusers, and that was one of the reasons why we didn't get to court.
Jeebus.
And I thought, well, if that's the case, why was it that the local paper actually got permission, to print the names anyway?
Good point.
And this is what I'm saying with what we all went through with, I'll say it because I'm allowed to, I proved it, with Witherwack.
Mm-hmm.
Because there'd been 10 investigations into Witherwack. That even surprised me.
Mm.
There was which has been in the paper, so I can't speak about this legally.
Sure.
There was the Rough Tamblin case.
Mm.
And then after that, around about 2000, there was our case.
Mm-hmm.
And previously there'd been other cases.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, rather than going back, wading through all of them, what can be done then to change things for the better, to give victims a better chance?
What can be done? For starters, I'm sorry, Alan, I'm getting a little bit angry.
Sorry.
What can be done? Time and time again, there's inquiries set up by the government. Time and time again. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We had North Wales, if you remember, Waterhouse. What did that result in? Nothing. And then we had one for England, which was the Independent Inquiry into Child Sexual Abuse. I was actually asked to be a co-participant status.
Mm.
Yeah. Yeah, I went down to the Truth Project in Liverpool and said my stuff. Yeah, and they asked us, and they said, "Well, why won't you come forward?" I wasn't scared, Alan. You know what I mean? It doesn't scare me, right?
Yeah.
It was a simple fact that I knew what they were doing is, in my opinion, they were actually gathering more and more information. Yeah, but at a cost, at something like 14 million inquiry. In fact, more. In fact, I think it's 80 million inquiry. Sorry, 80 million pounds, right? And it hasn't resulted, even though they've got the evidence of people abusing direct. Yeah, it hasn't resulted in any prosecution.
Jeebus. What a fortune spent that could have been put to better use, you would have thought. It's fascinating, Brian. It's sad, and I just think it's a dodgy direction for the law to take to stop putting... Because if a paedophile has the money to pay off their victims, they stay hidden, and there's more victims. I mean, it's obvious, isn't it?
Well, like I say, Alan, in my opinion, the biggest coming back to Parliament, and people say, yeah, whatever, Brian, you know. But 32 years of research and going through it, not only as a survivor, but as somebody trying to get justice, you know. In my opinion, one of the biggest child abusers, and this is down to me, this is not down to the show, yeah, is Grenville.
I just think, we can't even go there, so I'm afraid we're going to have to take you out, though, Brian. It's very easy to point a finger, and I can't let it go out because I can't prove it. If I can't prove it, that makes it a crime, and I'm not standing in court. Right, okay, let's go. 0191 488 3188. Let's talk to Simon, because he's in Peterlee. Hi, Simon.
Hey, Alan. Hi. All right?
Yes, good, mate. What can we do for you?
I was just wanting to talk about social housing, because myself and my lass are in the middle of trying to get social housing.
Right. So where are you living at the moment then? Are you with friends, with family, or what?
We're in private rent at the moment, which we've been in for a good few years.
Right.
But our situation has changed. Our landlord still owns the building that we live in, but since he's left, we live above a shop.
Right.
And since he's left, it's become a bit like Beirut with the antisocial behaviour.
Right.
So we've decided, my lass is 68 and I'm 54 in a couple of months' time.
Right.
And we've just enough's enough.
Right. So you're trying to get a house from the council away from the hell on wheels that you're in at the moment.
Yeah.
Gotcha. I mean, I'm told that there's ridiculous queues and there's not enough and they're not building new. So what have they said to you then?
Well, we filled in the forms online, blah, 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 and we got put into... apparently with Durham Key Options, there's 4 bands.
Right.
Number 4 is adequately housed. Number 1, you're in danger of your house being knocked down for council regeneration or ex-forces, etc.
Right.
So we thought, all right, fair enough. And we got put into band 2 because my lass has got COPD, diabetes, heart condition, arthritis.
Blame me.
So...
Right, so you're in band 2. What does that mean from a time point of view? I mean, are you likely to get one in a month, in a year, in a decade? I mean, what have you been told?
Well, how it works is that on assessment of the forms that you put, or the information you put in on the forms, they assess you and they give you a banding.
Right.
So we thought, well, band 2, well, that's all right, not bad. And we started bidding on properties, and so that was houses, bungalows, blah, blah, blah. And we find out 5 or 6 weeks later, when we keep getting knocked back, so I phone up and say, why, what's the crack, what's happening? oh, well, you've been assessed band 2 and it has to be level access accommodation. So I say, well, what's that then?
Ground floor, everything then, is it?
Yeah.
Right.
So
if you go for a property that's got an upstairs, you're not going to get it.
Yeah. But they didn't tell us that.
Right. So you've been applying for everything in sight.
Yeah.
What a
so
waste
I say, all right, fair enough. Well, if necessary, we'll get, because my lass has got PIP.
Mm-hmm.
So I say, well, then that's okay. Then we'll just put a stair lift in as and when it's needed.
Right. Uh-huh.
They say, no, we're not. You're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to apply for properties that are not already adapted.
Oh, blimey, because that narrows the number down massively, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Right.
So they say you have to apply for ground floor flats or bungalows, as you say.
Mm.
So then I'm looking down through all the information on the website, and it says you will not be offered a property unless you've been assessed for it or an adapted property. Okay.
Right.
So how do we get an assessment? Oh, you need an occupational therapist to come and see you.
Right.
All right, then. So can we have one of them?
Yeah.
No, because one's on long-term sick. One's got his diary full.
Mm.
And the other one's gone on a long weekend holiday. All right, and we don't get told this. It's only because I started mithering them.
Yeah, they wouldn't have mentioned it. They just said, well, we'll put you on the list, and then you just don't hear anything.
Yeah, exactly. And it's only because I turned round and said for 2 weeks running, well, I want to speak to someone in management.
Mm.
So we get a message a few days later, because it's all by messaging service.
Yeah.
I want to speak to someone in management. Oh, well, we'll book you in for a phone call in a week's time for a team leader. And I'm just like, team leader? And it's not being disrespectful, but it was just like, yeah, okay. Give her a due. Right, we did get a phone call, and I said, we've been waiting for an occupational therapist appointment 5 weeks. Can we have some help?
Mm.
And this lady did give us a phone call back. We get an appointment with an occupational therapist. Well, it was a phone call appointment. And I said, well, you really actually need to come out and see my lass.
Mm.
So she comes out the next day and she turns around and says, well, actually, band 2, you're in the right band for physical needs, because my lass can actually get up and down the stairs and have a little bit of a wander.
Right.
Because she says, well, band 1, that's like people that are housebound, etc., etc. My lass starts to break down, and because of the situation that we're in, she said, you're in band 2, correct band, and I broke down because I've had a nervous breakdown again this year. It's the first time I've been back on antidepressants since 2012.
So did it help you? Has it led you any nearer, or are you still just waiting?
It's led us. I had my breakdown, and she said I can't ignore it, because I actually said to her, I just want to go to sleep and not wake up in the morning.
Right.
And she phoned back the next day. She said, you're in band 1 on urgent medical need, and that was 2 months ago.
And you've heard nothing since?
And we still can't. There's literally, yesterday when I went on the website to bid for properties, because you actually have to bid for properties.
Right.
And if someone's in the same band as you that's been in it longer than you, they get first dibs.
Right. I'm just hearing some information from other people too. Simon, I think you've got a bit of a weight on your hands, I reckon, because I don't think this is going to be sorted anytime soon. But good luck to you. Thank you for coming on. Social housing, what do you know about that? Tony's just said, my oldest daughter has been on the waiting list for over 10 years. She's paying £550 a month for a private rental. She's disabled with 2 children, and she never gets to the top of the queue. 10 years. And I would have thought she had to be banned one, surely, for that. A lot of other things coming in very quickly. Suzanne, talking about weird things. She still has her glass-blown penis. We must never forget that. And also, Ali's been on. One weird thing, my ex-husband's ashes lived in our back room with us for 2 years after he died, simply because my kids couldn't decide what to do with them. And I used to talk to him when passing. We didn't mind him being there at all. How about that? Also, about Jezza. Dean suggests Jezza gets in touch with tea services on the Team Valley. Anthony Fagan's responding to that and says, your caller who rang about the query with a mobility scooter and a pet carrier trailer might like to contact a mobility scooter dealer who does repairs. They may be able to put a bracket on. I use a mobility scooter and have a pet carrier trailer that I used to carry my pet Labrador Retriever who had severe hip dysplasia. Thank you for that. However, there is a negative in here too. Dave from Cullercoats. As you know, Alan, I drive a mobility scooter too. It's a total lifeline for me and keeps me active in the community. There are weight limits associated with each scooter, so attaching trailers to it puts an awful strain on the lithium battery. Even carrying heavy shopping can drain the battery quickly, as it's harder to move. And I'm also not sure how safe it would be to carry 2 live animals in the back. And also, as far as insurance and road safety is concerned, it's going to make the vehicle huge. I wouldn't take the chance on taking any out with me. Other vehicles are far too unpredictable, and it would be far too large for the pavement and manoeuvring, just in my humble opinion. So there you go. And Jared Jill, and she says, seriously miss you every night. You mentioned Bill Haley in the comments at the Odeon. I've got the original pinkish ticket tucked away in a safe plastic wallet. If there's a collector out there, I'd consider bids on it. All the best. That's Andy from Jarrah. There you go. P.S. Wasn't it the gig wasn't old enough? Well, if anybody is interested in that, get in touch. And somebody's just sent me a meme. When's Christmas? And Sin December. Sin December! Brilliant. It's an athlete from the Olympics. Time for a piece of music. Let's get cracking. First of all, let's talk to their vocalist, Lee John. We're talking about a band called Imagination. Travelling the world seems to be something that you've had to do because demand requires it. Where's the best place you've been so far?
Oh, my goodness. I love the Far East. I've been to Bali. But I have wonderful audiences around the world, and there's places in France. I've got a place in Spain, in Benicassim, which is near Valencia, right by the sea. And, I never thought I'd, settle someplace like there, but it's just beautiful. It's very tranquil, a lovely village, They don't call me, they don't know me as Lee John. They go, hey, Mr. Lee, how are you? Hey, Mr. Lee,
No, well, they should say Mr. Lee.
You know why I got the extra E? Because years ago, when I was very young, at 14, I was signed to a major label, EMI, and I was part of a duo. We were called Russ and Lee. And the group Peters and Lee, remember they said, welcome home, welcome. And my manager wanted us to be Russ and Lee, and I hated it. So I just added the extra E just to be difficult. And it stayed.
This was all pause, and we know what you like. You got a right strut on you, Lee. Now, hang on, just want to talk to you about your house in Spain. Mm-hmm. Why did you pick Spain? Did you not realise that loads of Brits would be bouncing up and down in the sea singing, here we go, here we go?
No. Well, actually, where I live is very Spanish. If you fly to Valencia, Valencia's a beautiful city. It's kind of similar to Rome in the way it's architecture. And 40 minutes away is a beautiful village and it's called Beni Kassim, which is near Castellón, another town.
Right.
And some friends of mine said, look, every time, we got to the end of the season, end of the summer, they'd say, look, come over, you've been working, just relax. Nice to come over there. And it was just really chilled out. And, of course, my Spanish was just as bad as my English, as people would say. So, and it was really great. And it was, the food was great, fresh fish every day, and no English in sight. It was all Spanish. And, it was amazing. So I fell in love with the place, and my family's come over there. And also, a lot of my friends have now discovered it. And even now, there's a big festival. Every year, they have a huge music festival every year outside the village. And you would never believe that after the festival's finished, you would not believe people were even in the place. It's just so...
everybody goes back to their homes and it's empty again.
It's good. It's really, really good. And, I mean, my parents are from St. Lucia, so I have to give St. Lucia a big shake up there because, I do love St. Lucia as well. It's in the winter time, that's where you need to go.
Lee, safe journey up, Ken.
Take care.
Right, and hopefully there wouldn't be. We had people on top of all the high buildings fire watching, and their job, you think, well, why would anyone watch a fire? The idea was they would say, a bomb fell on such and such street. They had to say, did it explode or did it not? Because if it didn't explode, that to get people away from the area to try and make sure that they weren't hurt. And finally, they warned people to remember their pets. Now, it's very nice if you're a owner of a pet. I know Tony's dog mad. You love dogs as well. He's got a thing for animals. Each of their own. Now, when he says remember your pet, I thought it meant scoop up your pet. Don't forget your pet. Doesn't mean that. It says don't forget your pet. You don't have 9 lives. Leave your pet, or you leave your life. That's heavy. So, you've got the dog that's been with you 15 years. Leave him. He's not going to be allowed in a shelter. That's what we're talking about here. Anyway, here we go. We're heading in the direction of our target place. Watch yourself. There's a car coming too. Now, this is Potluck. Didn't know this was here. Didn't know it had a story. David Johnson went on a training course here and tells us that it's very haunted indeed. Some of the members of staff here have also seen and heard things. So let's check it out. It's this whole place. We can't get upstairs, but we can get into the cellar where they laid the bodies out. So here we go. Let's step into it. We've got our gear here already. First part has emergency lighting on it. So we head in this direction. This is where we're going to be. And we've got a door stop here that we can just kick out of the way. And once we get through here, hopefully we're in and we can close the door behind us and stay as safe as we can. Now, as you can see, this place, you may just make out a few items that you have owned in your lifetime, because this is it's an auction house now. How many of you remember owning something like that? Yeah, your big music center. Amazing. And incidentally, if you do see anything that you really want to buy, there's an auction this Saturday apparently. But I think places like this are actually quite spooky. I'm not even sure we need torches at the moment. I think Tony's gear is probably going to be good enough.
Can't see, like, in the room properly. No.
But put your torch down, Kenny, and I'll give you mine. I don't mind. Just leave it on the case. I'll just put it on here for now. The small one's probably enough for in here. Yeah. I think we've all had something like that.
Scary thing is, when is the house clearance? Sometimes it's when people have passed away, isn't it?
Yeah,
So a
absolutely.
lot of this stuff here.
We'll have a connection to
Yeah.
someone who's died. There's no question about that. Somebody's pig connection. Remember they used to get them with the banks
Yeah.
back in the day. Tony's obsessed with these disco lamps. You can see he's a disco.
Are you bidding for that?
Yeah, I'd failed to realise and recognise that whole. Well, of course, this is all to do with people selling up, passing on, passing away.
All the old cars, okay? Airfix, 4S cars. Aeroplanes as well. Why did I say aeroplane instead of airplane? Aeroplane. Oh. Oh, that wasn't me. Where's that coming from?
It's here.
Oh, ballerina in there.
It's creepy, isn't it? I don't know. I just think. What?
That's the most fun.
There's a phone going off. Don't know whether Andy's about. Maybe you need Andy to sort it out.
Oh, that's an internal phone, isn't it? I'm checking my signal.
Right. I don't know. I did see an old telephone. Wasn't it over here somewhere? I just thought I thought there was an old phone in here. I don't think it was linked up to anything. There's a coldness in here, mind. But I have to say, I'm not getting any major vibes of.
No.
I don't know what you're feeling, Kenny.
Not yet.
There's a Bible here. Oh, and it's got somebody's cross on the top of it as well. And you just know that this is weird. Because we can't answer it. It's not our property. Seen this? This was obviously somebody's private property. And it's their Bible, and they've put their, you know how they would have their cross. I think we'll I'm going to set a trap with this. It's a Bible that's important to them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it over here. Yeah, on this suitcase, and I'm going to.
3188.
Greatest Hits Radio. And let's go and talk to Stacey, who's in Waka. Hello, Stacey.
Hi, Aaron. You all right?
Yes, I'm good. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm fine.
Good.
Carrying on as usual.
Good, lass.
I just phoned up to say that I was all right and I'm getting on fine.
Great.
And just a couple of things. You know, when you were asking about weird things.
Yes.
I don't have weird things, but I eat weirdly.
You eat weirdly? What do you mean? Give me some weirdly eatery then. Go
So
on.
you know mint sauce, what you have like on Christmas dinner.
Mm-hmm.
I can just eat that out of the tub, out of the jar.
Really? I love mint sauce, but I couldn't do that.
Oh, no, I could eat jars upon jars upon jars. And on its own, nothing on it, just the mint sauce itself.
Right. Oh, wow.
And also stuffing that you have on like the Sunday dinner. I can eat that by itself as well.
Wow.
Probably with mint sauce.
Yeah, I could see the two things kind of going together. No, that is fairly weird. I don't know anybody else
I
who
would
can
have
do that.
mint sauce on anything, like pot noodles, cheese sandwiches, anything.
Wow. Right.
And another weird thing, it's like a body function. I can turn my tongue all the way around.
Right. So does that make you the greatest kisser in the world then, does it?
Well, I've never had any complaints.
Good answer.
It's a good, what I could drink was a good pick-up line for a free drink, you know. You know, a party trick.
No, I can imagine. Imagine everybody laughing at that. That's funny.
Also, my sister Demi, I think you've spoke to her before a couple of years back.
That's right, yes.
She'll come to see us. When was it? About 3 weeks ago, she come to visit us on a Monday.
Right.
On a Pacific Monday. Well, it's just my luck. She's a typical teenager where she doesn't listen to all this restrictions at the time, you know.
Right.
Wear a mask, stay away from other people.
Yeah.
And she's been warned so many times, you know. It's easy to transmit. Blah, blah, blah. You know. And she'd come to see us on a Monday. And she wasn't feeling well, but she didn't say anything to anybody. So she'd done one of the lateral flow tests.
She's got
on
it,
a
hasn't she?
Tuesday, and she tested positive.
Right.
Now, she had been next to me, so I had to self-isolate for 10 days.
Oh, what a clot. Right.
Thankfully, I've had both vaccines and I wasn't affected at all.
Good.
She was bad for about 4 days, like really bad.
Yeah.
And, you know, from personal experience, they say all this on the news, and sometimes you don't believe it. But she was like literally bad. They say it's a bad cough, yeah it is. They say it's like a fever, yeah it is. You know, they say sometimes you can't breathe. Personal experience, that's what she was like.
Right, but she's all right now.
Back to her usual self. She still goes out there with a mask on, but there's no telling her.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Well, that's part of the problem, though, isn't it? That's the thing, because there's no telling, and that's why they're trying to bribe teenagers with kebabs. I'm not sure that's going to work, but
true. Also, you know, you do the ghost huntings on a Thursday.
Yes.
You know the guy that you're with, Kenny?
Mm-hmm.
Is that Kenny D who I know?
Yes.
Because he's been to my house before when I bought a cup of him, Starbucks cup. It was for Cash for Kids.
Cash for Kids, that's right, yeah.
Recently, and he told us, he says, tell Alan when you speak to him that I've seen you before, I've met you.
There you go. You see, you're
I
famous.
wasn't sure if it was the same person.
It is, Stacey. Hey, nice talking to you.
One last quick thing.
Yes.
You know, you mentioned on one of the ghost hunting things that you could get the Night Owl's badge. Is there any way I can buy one of them, or how do I get one?
I tell you what, I'll have a word with Tony, and he'll send you the link. Okay?
Right, no problem. Thanks a lot.
That's lovely. Bless you, Darren. You take care. There's Stacey, so I'll leave her on the line just in case Tony wants to pass the link off to her. 01914 488 3188. Now, Sue sent this in tonight, and I've already done a little bit of research. And it's she says, it's my mother's 80th birthday in September. I was wondering if it would be possible to speak to Tommy Steele, my mum's absolute favourite singer. It would be lovely if he could meet my mum on her 80th. Sue from Washington. Likelihood is that's not going to happen because Tommy's 83 now. He's 83. And he tends not to. I've asked to interview him on a number of occasions, and he won't leave London. You'd have to go to London physically to see him if he was willing, and he's not all that willing. He wouldn't talk to us. Not that that's the end of the world. All I can do is send information to his agent. That's the route you have to take with Tom. And he'll pass it on to Tommy Steele. So we'll do that and see if anything comes back. 0191 488 3188. Anonymous in Durham. Hello, Anonymous.
Hi, Alan.
Hello there.
I know you have a lot of professionals that link up and listening to you on a Sunday evening. I wonder if it's possible. What I'm actually looking for is a real good solicitor, and I'll tell you what I need this for.
Okay.
I need it for a special guardianship. One who, no disrespect, isn't trying to tackle the local authority. I'm dealing with a case and I need a different solicitor for special guardianship, but unfortunately I have medical issues. Now I have a number of GP's letters stating there's no reason whatsoever why I can't take this child on board. Every other person I'm dealing with legally has given the go-ahead. Unfortunately, for some reason, the local authority will not. I'm looking for a good solicitor now to obviously take the case back to court, obviously to challenge them. They've even tried to get a hold of my GP because they tried to state that my GP wasn't being open and honest with my medical conditions, and obviously GPs are absolutely 100% honest, and it's been an absolute nightmare, the case.
Right, so bottom line is, night owls, have you ever dealt with the case of guardianship over a child? And if you have, and you know a solicitor that's good, who's worked in that area before and has obviously the knowledge to press on with this particular case, get in touch with us now. If that happens, we'll get straight back to you, Anon. Let's give it a chance for people to ring.
And obviously, with me being disabled, I need some form of legal aid. I can't afford half, but perhaps I need some other form of legal aid as well as a backup.
Right, okay. So if anybody knows, let's cross the first bridge and find solicitors that can do it. And then we'll see if that is possible. It's two jobs, but let's get to it. We'll see what we can do for you, Anon. Thank you very much for calling.
Thanks a lot now.
You're welcome. Good solicitor, specialising in guardianship. Do you know one? If so, give Harry a call now. Okay, let's get to another star coming out at night. Alexander O'Neill. Big, hunky-chunky man. What's he scared of?
What are you frightened of? You got any irrational fears?
What scares me the most is me leaving this earth and not have being the best Alex that I could be, not having fulfilled the things that God has placed for me to do.
Right.
To whom much is given, much is expected.
Yeah.
And so that scares me sometimes because I fall short, and I try to be the best. So therefore, I just try to be the best person that I can be each and every day, to try to just stay on that, because that concerns me more so now, my relationship with God, and trying to be the best person, trying to hopefully get past any vice, anything that I got going that would stop me from being the best person I can be.
Well, that sounds great, but it also makes me wonder, if you're this worried about it, you must have been a bit of a bad lad earlier on in your life, then.
Well, it's not a worry. It's not something that I'm obsessed with, you know. I mean, I live each day for itself. I don't, yesterday's gone, I don't deal with yesterdays, and I don't deal with too many tomorrows, you know.
Right.
I try to stay in the moment. But before, I used to live like that, you know, living yesterdays, living tomorrows, and stuff like that. Now, it's just one day at a time.
Yeah.
So it's not that I'm worried about it, but, you know, I mean, I have the thing that it's not that I've been such a bad person, it's I've been a squanderer, okay?
Right.
And I haven't done a lot of things that I probably should have done in my life and in my career, because back in the day, I lived like every night. My motto was every night is Saturday night, okay?
Right, yeah.
And that's the way I tried to live.
Uh-huh.
But now, look, I have to grow up sometime. When I grow up, I want to be just like you, Alan, okay? Just like you.
Well, that's good. Bless you. Thank you very much.
I don't know whether you can see this. Tony, do you want to see this too? Are you getting a signal all right,
I'm
Tony?
just checking, yeah. We look like we're all right.
I'm hearing noises again.
Yeah.
But no, I've set a trap here with a Bible. You see? It's completely stable. See it?
Yeah.
So we'll see if that can be moved at all. I'm tempted to, shall we do that too? That's tempting Providence. Turning a cross upside down. Absolutely. I'm sure I saw a telephone. You see, the things that's here, even though they're things that are to be sold, this, for example, is number 22 at the sale, and it's a miner's helmet, and there's all the fitment for the front of the lamp. Did somebody survive?
We passed that clock before. Was it moving? It is now.
It looks like it's the right time.
It's the
I
right
would
time,
think.
so it must be all right.
We're hearing a few electronic noises in here. Please, if anybody is watching our footsteps here, make sure that you share as much as you can. There's so many things in the end. They're all connected to people who lived in. Remember, whoever used this vase, all attached and connected to people's lives. Everything here, part and parcel of what people did I know a lot of people maybe know where we are and are ringing up to vex us, but I don't care. It's just a telephone. We can live with that because we're trying our best to examine a place.
There's burgers in your shop.
Yeah, but they see the torches. Maybe that's the case.
I'm expecting a minute from the police again.
Well, I think we've done that already, haven't we? Yeah, clearly. I've just seen hell's bells. Whoa. I've just located a staircase. Tony, I'm not even sure you'd be able to.
I can get through down the middle ones.
There's a middle staircase there. That's good. That's where I'm going.
It's our doll's keeping it.
He's guarding it.
Guarding it.
Absolutely. Kenny.
Yeah.
Come here. Come around here. Tony, I don't know whether you can or not. Stop.
No, that's definitely moving.
Can you see this, Tony? It's not moving wildly.
Anywhere near it, but it is moving. That is moving, isn't it? Can you see that?
I mean, I came up to about here and I heard a little something and then I moved back because I saw something moving and it's that. And it's still moving. Don't think I hit it. Don't. Oh,
Further back.
They're creepy.
That was me.
Oh, that was that you, Tony?
We're on edge, aren't we? You can tell.
I just kind of get away with how butch these guys. Yeah. In fact, I'll stop playing with them. It's not a good sign, is it?
No.
Getting a bit of cold.
Yeah.
Getting a bit of cold over here. This is cold here.
Yeah.
Slightly colder than
Oh, I got a lot colder.
downstairs. I'm definitely going to give a try to the rods tonight, and I think maybe it's time we tried our old friend. See if you can get any kind of message again. We've got a lot of people who have passed away, whose things are here. And if your things are here, I want you to tell us about them. I'm just going to sit myself down right here. Oh. So if there's anybody there. We've been asked to investigate because somebody who worked here experienced something moving around.
Dettol True Clean Spray. Dettol Power. Plant-based.
We want to find if it's you. Is it you?
Yeah.
Why are you staying here? What's your name? What's your name? Paul Wood. Some of these things are just downright creepy. You've seen these things, Tony, yeah? Some man destroying a speed camera, I think is what it is. Look at the faces on them. Bizarre.
Cool.
I think it's cool.
Well, it's different.
It's different for sure.
Not everyone's got one of those.
No, not at all. What's the name? Paul Wood? Why are you here, Paul? No. I thought I heard someone say it's because I'm safe. You're safe here. Is that what you said? Good. Do you live up here? Do you live downstairs in the cellars? We got to hit the cellars, I think. I feel most of this up here is benign. Although it's colder over there for some reason. Right. I'm going to stop that just for a second because what I want to do, I think I've said this place is benign up here. Hey, my guess is as good as yours. I think what we do is let's have a bit of silence and we'll see if there's absolutely any. Okay. Kenny, if you just get in the very, very corner and then just go right across from left to right in the room. See if we can get anything. Yeah.
Tally up to 32. 10 of those are gold. Max Whitlock became the first British gymnast to defend an Olympic title as he claims victory in the pommel horse.
The standard of the pommel final was very high. I knew scores were going to be big. As first man up, I felt the pressure, but happy to deliver a good job of coming off the back of Rio. I think experience helped me. So I'm hugely grateful for the support I received.
That came after Charlotte Worthington's gold with a stunning display in the BMX women's freestyle. Swimmer Duncan Scott claimed Britain's record 4th medal at the same games, 1 gold and 3 silvers. But there was heartbreak for sprinter Dan Zarnell Hughes, who was disqualified from the men's 100-metre final after a false start. Elsewhere, Hibbs came from behind to win 3-2 at Motherwell, and in Formula 1, Lewis Hamilton leads the drivers' standings by 8 points after coming second in the Hungarian Grand Prix. From Sky News, I'm Andy Hayes.
Thank you, Edward. Alan Robson with you. Greatest Hits Radio Northeast. Let's crack on. We have another hour to fill with you guys, so pick up your telephone, give us a call. Your third clue coming at you, and then in 20 minutes you'll get your fourth one, and you can start trying to work out the link between 4 people who've had greatest hits. Clue number 1. This band had greatest hits with The Witch's Promise, Life's a Long Song, Said She Was a Dancer, minor hits, Bungle in the Jungle, The Whistler, and so, who was that? Their biggest album was probably Aqualung, and it was led by Ian Anderson, who played the flute. Second clue, the band that changed its name to New Order. What was the name of the band before they became New Order? Peter Hook's band. Third clue. This group had massive hits with Don't Leave Me This Way and Never Can Say Goodbye. Keyboard player was a vicar. What's the name of the band? Had massive hits with Don't Leave Me This Way and Never Can Say Goodbye. 3 clues down. 1 last clue to come. See if you can work out what links them all together. Okay? 1 more clue in 20 minutes' time. Meanwhile, we got Anne from West Denton. Hello, Anne.
Oh, hello, Alan. I'd like to apologise to Alison because I had to hurry and get my cream on because I'm itching all night with my virus and that.
Oh, blimey, right.
It's right through the day, but it's all right through the day, so I had to get my cream on.
But you never
get no rest.
You've got your cream on now, have you?
Oh, aye.
Champion.
It's just about, I'm not going to change my Geordie accent, mind, Alan. No bloody way.
No.
Nah, I'm not.
No, good.
I don't know who they're dealing with, Alan. I haven't got my eye done, you know. I was disappointed at a certain hospital, you know, horrible receptionist on the phone. I think I wasn't worth it, but the doctor wasn't a doctor, so my daughter's going to phone on to the doctor tomorrow.
Right.
They've lost all my things, Alan. They say I haven't been down to the hospital, which I haven't, done a lie, and that and things like that. Nasty people on the phone. My daughter's took over.
Yeah, there's no necessity.
They've lost all my records, Alan.
Is that right?
Uh-huh.
They've lost them all.
Oh, I lost them all, and I had to pay the fund, and my money.
Yeah.
I waited 4 weeks for this one, and 1.5 years for the National Health Service.
Oh, right. Crazy.
So,
what a waste of time.
That's all
awful when you can't see hardly. Well, I can see me dinner and your nighttime number and all that number all in my head.
So how long is it before they're going to take action with you then?
Well, my daughter's going to phone the night
They'll chase
doctor.
them up.
He come out to chase it up, but every time I mean, I can eat my dinner and all right and see in the house properly.
That's not
I had me burned me hot tea on my knees, which didn't harm us. I'm tough. And then I bumped in my head twice, and the doctor's trying to explain. So she has to go back, and I might have to go on the waiting list, doctor again.
I know, what a clerk. What a clerk, though, Anne. You should have been in by now. You shouldn't leave it until you're knocking yourself out because you cannot see where you're going. I mean, hopefully your daughter will get the message across. I hope she does.
She told the reception and stuff. Listen, some quick call. Who is you, Mr. Steiner's Planet 9, darling?
Sorry, I didn't catch that, Anne. Say again?
Oh, yeah, sorry. I always get wrong with speaking quick. Humans spout this plan because I was watching quickly an Amazon series, all this species, you know, the rainforest.
Right.
They chopped the rainforest down. They put pipes under the street, whatever, under the countryside.
Right.
The rich people, I don't care who they are, they went up on the rockets, all things disturbing the oil crust, what goes onto the ground, and you can go on and on, can't you?
Yeah, we've ruined the planet, but there's a lot of people trying to put it right again, but they should have been more careful in the first place, shouldn't they, really?
I know. So I better go now, because there's other people on.
No bother. Try not to be too itchy, Anne. Good luck.
It's the cream, man. It's all me back. Did you not get me photo I sent you, Alan?
I haven't had a photo from you, no.
It was £10 in. It was a horrible state. Me photo was all. I wasn't a model for this company. Doing this on my back.
No, I bet.
So, like I say, one's all rubbers, orange,
right.
all over. One's all scabs. One's like mushrooms, and it's still. It's all right through the day with the cream, but the heat on your body. Right. But also, it's been done since October. What does that doctor say? March. I've had it since March with the cream. But it's gradually going away. But honestly, my body was just like all burnt up.
Awful.
With antibiotics, Alan.
Well, let's hope they get the eyes sorted, because that's really important. And the itchy thing looks like it's on its way, so fingers crossed. Good talking to you, Anne. Thanks for coming on, darling.
All right, then. Good night.
Take care. Oh, what a shame. 01914 488 3188. Get the calls in. How long have you got to wait with bad eyes before they'll help you? And I know they say the waiting lists are 5 years for certain operations at the present moment due to, you know what. James is next. He is at Wolverhampton. Hello, James.
Hello, Alan. Welcome back.
Hello. Good to talk to you. Dive in. What's your subject for us all?
Well, my subject is about Boris Johnson. You're probably going to be sick of hearing about what I'm going to talk about tonight. It's about the coronavirus, right?
Right.
Boris Johnson has actually come out, not in public, but he's actually come out behind cameras to say sorry. But I don't think that's good enough. I think he needs to come out and say sorry to the public one by one, because it's all right. It's all right saying he's sorry behind cameras, but it doesn't have the effect that it should. That having face to face.
Right. What do you think he has to say sorry for? Because a lot of people think he's done as well as anybody could under the circumstances. Why do you think he needs to apologise?
Well, for him knowing about it for quite a long while before it even started.
Right.
If people had known before it started, right, sort of when he found out, I don't think there would have been as many people died than there has been already.
Well, I mean, in fairness, an awful lot of people got to know about the problem at roughly the same time in different parts of the world, and some people acted immediately, and Boris was a little bit slow getting out the blocks, but nobody could have really imagined that the whole world would become what it became, surely.
I've got no idea, Alan. But I've as I said, I don't know whether I've told you, but I've lost 3 friends through it. One got put in a coronavirus ward, and she didn't have COVID, but she died anyway. There was a friend of mine that had COVID, and just before his birthday, and he didn't even have his birthday. And my friend's boyfriend died as well. So I've got a lot of people that have died, and I've got a lot of families that want to know why.
Right, and you feel that had Boris handled it differently, they may still have been alive today.
Yes, exactly.
Gotcha. I understand that. Right.
Yes, I mean it's to be honest with you, Alan, it's been a long, hard, difficult 18 months. Yes,
absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, I've sat up most nights and I've just thought, well, why? And that's been crossing my mind for most time that we're in the pandemic. But funny enough, I can't seem to pick any answers out the air. You know what I mean? I mean, I'd like to know why, and also my friends' families want to know why as well. Because the most difficult time of the year for them is the birthdays, my friends' birthdays, and Christmas.
Right.
That is going to hit them really, really hard, I think.
But no matter what, I mean, Boris probably would argue that he was put in an impossible position, like all the other leaders of all the other countries, and he's done the best that he can, and it was a virus that was always going to be a killer, and it killed a lot of people. Can he really be held responsible for it? Because nobody knew where this was going, and nobody knew it would stop the planet, because it did. It stopped everybody doing everything, didn't it?
Yes, it did. I mean, it stopped the whole world. I mean, it was like somebody pressed pause.
Yes.
And everybody just paused and stopped.
Yeah.
And they paused and stopped for 15 months.
Yeah.
And that's 15 months that people aren't ever going to be able to get back.
That's true. Absolutely, I agree with that.
But the thing is, what we've got to think about now is we've come this far. We've come through it.
Right.
We all haven't died. We've all still got our lives. We've all still got our families and friends. Some of us haven't got the friends that we had because they've died through COVID, but we've got other friends as well. And the friends that we've still got, we need to hang on to them. We need to hang on to them because friendship is a big thing. You've got to keep your friends close, but your enemies. Your enemies close, but your friends closer.
Right. Okay.
As close as you can.
Sure. Right. It's just, let's say that Boris apologised.
Yeah.
And you mentioned individually. Let's say you apologise to the family. That's still not going to make it. It's not going to bring anybody back, is it?
No, it's not. But it'll probably make it easier, Alan. It'll probably make it easier to deal with.
I hear that. I just think when you've lost somebody, especially if it's somebody very close, as it has been in all 3 cases with you, I'm not sure that anything's going to make that much difference because they're people who aren't there anymore, but could have been under other circumstances.
Yes.
Which makes it even sadder. Anything else while you're on then, James?
Yes, I'm planning on doing a sponsored walk for the families that have lost the people. I'm just wondering if anybody would like to give me some backing for it as well from Metro FM or from the wider nation of Newcastle upon Tyne.
Well, I think the thing to do is get it organised and set up a page, and then once the page is up, come on, tell us what it is, and hopefully some people will get behind you.
Right, okay, thanks, Alan.
No worries. Thanks for coming on, James.
Thanks, Alan.
All the best, bye-bye. There you go, James there in Wolverhampton. And James, they've got another James, there's a couple of Jameses, and one's a Jesse. No, you know what I mean. Anyway, This is James from Anetsford. Hello, James.
Hello, Alan.
Hello, man. How you doing?
The Jessies are right now.
I wasn't saying that you were the Jessie. I'm not mentioning that. That's not fair.
I'm just pulling your leg, man.
That's all right. So, you're talking about gigs and stuff. Tell me about your gigs then. Go for it.
Last week, because the lad was on the... Because I couldn't remember what I was phoning up last week.
Uh-huh.
But, like, he put us on... The first gig I ever seen was the AC/DC.
Where at?
At the Mayfair.
Oh, blimey, classic.
Yeah, aye.
Did you see, because they did one with Bon Scott, and then much later they did one with Brian.
No, it was with Bon Scott. This was really early. This is when they were, like, kicking off, Alan.
Yeah.
This was, like...
Rock and Roll Damnation.
Aye, right early in the 70s.
Yeah.
You just had to pay a $5 or something, or £4 at the door. I think it was only £3, I think.
Yeah, I was there too.
Aye, that was my first gig.
Great gig too.
I've seen loads of gigs as well, and loads, but I haven't met as many as you have, like, because you've met the world.
Well, I've been in a fortunate position, but at that gig, I remember him singing "Big Balls." I don't know whether you can remember.
I think you must have been the same. You've been there when I've been there.
Yeah,
you know,
well, I know.
They had a split level, didn't they? They had like a top level,
Upstairs,
level,
yeah, and then downstairs, where it was never a mosh pit, but it was everybody was kind of tightly packed. That's for sure.
It was a good little club, that.
That's great.
But my best one, my favourite one was Status Quo, because I used to be like Status Quo mental, man.
Right, yeah.
I named my disco as Status Quo.
Uh-huh.
Greasy Spoon it was.
Right. Because I remember that, because Mark Kelly's Greasy Spoon was one of their albums, wasn't it?
That's what I named it after. Mark Kelly's Greasy Spoon. But like, I was that nuts on them, Alan. I took a job at the Holiday Inn 6 months before they come to Newcastle, hoping they were going to the Holiday Inn, because at that time, they could either go to the Holiday Inn or Gosforth Park.
Gosforth Park, that's right. Yeah, that was the two.
Yeah, that was the two. So I took the Holiday Inn, and good job to come.
Brilliant.
And I got sacked that day, though.
Why? Because you were too busy pestering them?
No, because what happened was I went in, and when Status Quo come in,
yeah,
I seen a lot of people like there. I seen like Les Dawson, everybody there when I worked there.
Yeah.
But when they come in, I went to work with me proper jeans on and me good clothes, neat work clothes.
Right.
And they said, my boss says, "You come to work?" I said, "No, I haven't come to work." Like, well, it was a public bar.
Yeah.
So kind of, you know.
Yeah, you're a civilian when you're in there. That's fair dues.
You know, and the bar bloke, and I forget, he was saying, "We're running a drink," because it was me who used to put the drink behind the bar. Anyway, and Francis Rossi and Rick Parfit, they were sitting on this table, and I just went over to them. I said, "Can I have your autograph, please?" God, you know, give us an autograph, and we got a bit chatting.
Right.
And it was like, my boss come and we're chatting. Can I have a word with you? And I says, "Please yourself," like, you know, because I was a bit wild at them days, you know. I says, "Well, please yourself," like, sort of thing. And he says, "If you're not going to work, you can just leave the premises now. You're sacked."
Oh, that was
Rossi
called
heard this.
for.
Rossi heard this. And I says, "Well, I'm sacked then." And he says, "Well, you know, you try to shove us out the place." I says, whoa, it's public, man. You know what I mean? I've done nothing wrong. And I stopped there for about 2 hours.
That's great.
I gave him a football with him. Then I got a stage pass.
Oh, brilliant!
And the stage pass was totally brilliant. It was at the City Hall, you know. And I was like, I'm not joking, the queue was a mile long to get in. And here's me walking past them all. They were giving us that funny look because I was walking past them all, you know, going to the front of the queue.
Pass your swag.
And a couple of them were saying, "Hey, I jumped in the queue." I said, "I ain't jumping in that queue." And I went into the ticket office thing, went to wow. What's your name? Give me your name. All right, yeah. Your seat such and such.
Brilliant.
That cost us nothing, you know.
Brilliant.
Aye.
I bet you've never seen more denim in your life.
Aye, but the trouble is, I took a mate there, and he took a funny tone. He took a funny tone, and I mean a funny tone, you know.
Yeah.
Well, we're only young, we're only about 20 odd at the time and all, you know. And he took a funny tone, and he had to go, like I had to rush him with the Pinton place.
Oh no!
So I missed the party at the end of the night, and to this day I wish I never took him.
I mean, it just shows you what a good friend you were. But I know, I remember way back first hearing them, and it was like Pictures of Matchstick Men, and what was the other one? There was
Matchstick Men, yeah.
There was a couple of the Ice in the Sun. I seem to remember as well.
Ice in the Sun, yeah. But you know what it is, Alan? I've seen a lot of bands, and I used to go to Reading every year, Reading Festival.
Yeah.
And I can put my hand on my heart to tell you that there's Rod Stewart, which is brilliant live.
Yeah.
I've seen him live.
He is, absolutely.
Brilliant live.
Yeah.
But Status Quo's up there, man.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Because they're brilliant live, you know what I mean?
Yeah, they are.
I've seen a few, but like...
But Core's special. Core's always been a special band.
Aye.
A lot of people used to say that, you know, every song they do is the same as the one before. And if you listen to the stuff properly, from start to finish, they're all over the place. They've got great variety in Gurdundula, In My Chair, Rock and Roll, Living on an Island. Do you know what I mean? It's not just the 12-bar stuff that everybody goes on about. It's really good quality rock.
Well, they changed the format, and that's when the band bust up, because when they changed the format.
Yeah.
But
special,
that's sort of good. That's
special band, no question. Hey, good talking to you, James. Thanks for coming on, man.
No problem, man. You take a hard day.
I will, man. Thanks a lot. And, hang on. Badger Heed, it's Linda from Barrisford. Hello, Linda.
Oh, good morning, darling.
Hello, how are you?
Oh, not bad.
Oh, that's good. How's your mum?
My mum's, well as expected.
Good.
Yeah.
As much as you can hope for. That's
yeah.
Right. Okay, what can we do for you, Linda? What's been happening in your world?
Oh, what was that? I'm trying to think. Well, a lot, but not a lot, if you know what I mean. I went to Torquay.
Right.
That was a couple of weeks ago.
Were you happy?
In Torquay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because that's what the song says, isn't it?
Is it?
Happy Torquay, happy Torquay. Sorry about that.
Oh, yeah.
So you had a good time anyway?
Had an absolutely fantastic time.
How was the weather?
The weather was lovely.
Good.
What was it? I'm hoping to go to Germany at the end of this month.
Right, serves them right.
Because, yeah, you're right. What was it? Because my daughter will be having a baby.
Oh, wow, right.
Next week, I think.
Uh-huh.
So I'm crossing fingers I can go.
First chance you get. I mean, what's the rules over there? Because I know to go to France, they say that you don't have to quarantine when you go over there, but you do have to have another test when you come back.
Yeah.
Do you know the rules for Germany yet?
I think it's something like that.
Some of the same, all right.
I'll just have to wait and see.
Right.
What was it? If it happens, then I go. If it doesn't, well, that's the way the cookie crumbles.
You'll get a chance to see the baby before they're 20. That's the main thing. Probably, because who knows with the way things have been going. It's been a bit crazy.
It is crazy, and I've had the 2 injections,
right.
And if it wasn't for that, I've got children out in Germany. I don't know if I would have had the injection or not.
Yeah, I know a lot of people have doubted them.
Yeah, what was it? But I'm not happy about this booster.
Right. Well, it depends where you get it.
Why?
Well, it depends where they stick it, doesn't it?
Well, you get it in your arm, didn't you?
I don't know.
Well, where else then, Alan?
Could be a bottom. You don't know, do you?
No.
You could go in and say, okay, bend over. What? Hang on. They didn't tell me this.
No, I don't want one of them.
No, I don't want one of them either.
No.
Ooh.
What was it? How many years are you married now, Alan? It was your wedding anniversary last month.
It was 5. Paper.
Crumbs.
Paper.
Hey?
Paper. 5 years is paper anniversary.
So did you send anything in paper to your wife?
Yes.
Oh, and did she, you?
Yeah, she did me, yes. Funnily, wasn't a question I expected you to ask, but funnily enough.
Yeah.
Yes, she sent me some like a paper thing. Yeah, it worked out. She got in first. I came in second.
And how is she?
She's fine. She's good. Thank you.
Oh, good. I'll send her my love.
I will, absolutely. No problems. That's good.
What else has been going on?
Don't know.
I told you that I took my father's ashes down.
Yes.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
God help him as well.
What a shame.
Yeah.
But he's out of pain. He's out of pain and he's out of trouble. That's the thing. He's out of pain now. You know,
Yeah.
That's the thing.
But it doesn't stop you from, thinking and
No.
and the hurt's still there, sort of thing.
Absolutely.
But hey ho, I've got my mum to look after now.
It's the nature of life. You as soon as you come in, you know you're heading towards an exit, and you hope it's a nice long journey. That's the thing.
Well,
How old was he in total? He was a decent age.
He was 90.
90. There you go.
It was a week before his. Was it a couple of weeks before his?
91st.
91st birthday. Yeah.
Right.
And we buried him on his birthday.
Right. Oh, shame.
Yeah.
What a shame. What a shame.
Yeah. And he was a lovely dad.
He was a lovely bloke. I met him.
Yeah.
Of course.
That's right. You had a photograph taken with him, didn't you?
I did, absolutely.
And my mum.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah.
Oh, blimey. Well, look after her, for heaven's sake.
Yeah, and it's lovely speaking to you, Alan.
Always a pleasure, Linda. Thank you, darling.
And love to all the night owls.
And you get over to Germany and make them have it, okay?
Oh, I will. I'll do that, yeah.
Okay, take care. Bye, Linda. There is Linda from Borrisford. Do you know, I get sent these things. I don't know whether you've ever... It's a playlist kind of thing. The good thing is we're a talk show, so we can ignore like 90% of the play, because we're a talk show. And it also gives us the benefit of being able to play the best of what's on the playlist. And this is just one of those... I'm a rocker by heart, so okay. However, occasionally a tune comes out that's just totally different to everything else around it, and you cannot help but love it. In fact, it's a delight. And you know what it is now, don't you?
That pipe's... It's flashing. It's flashing. Can you see it, Tony?
I'm probably in the wrong bit.
Do you see it? There's a white thing shot up.
I'm a bit far away. I can move it over.
What the hell was that?
There was a white thing
I've just
shot
seen...
up. There?
There. It's dancing.
Look at that.
What the hell is that on the pipe? That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous.
It's freezing here as well.
You'll get all the night vision camera
What the hell was
footage.
that?
I know you can't see it on here.
It definitely moved upwards, didn't it?
Well, we're going to have to go in there. So, we're going to take our leave of you now. Please join us. We've got a lot of ground to cover. Gwendoline and I will be, and Kenny. Look at her poor head wound. Somebody's mistreated this child so bad. Probably me banging her. Creepy doll. But she's going to keep us safe tonight. There's something in there, and we've heard noises in that one. But we're going to take our leave of you. Remind everybody again how they can share, please. And how do you join?
Yeah, on gone off. No. Shouldn't have gone off because the router's just there.
Yeah. We're hoping we're still live.
If not, yeah, stream resumed. Yeah, if you're on Facebook, become a supporter on the top, and then the live stream will start in another 5 minutes. On YouTube, just join us, and then in a few hours' time, you'll get all the extra bits.
We'd love
including the night vision.
You get all the night vision and all the stuff that we've been here for a few hours recording. Not here, but in Blythe recording a few things. If you want to know more about live, it's all waiting for you. However, we're now in the place where the bodies were laid out, where everybody has seen the activity and things have been moved and things have been taken. What else is going to happen tonight? We're just getting started. We would love you to stay with us. Come over to the other side and see where the dead were laid.
Strange, wasn't it?
Did you hear a voice from through there?
Truthfully, I didn't.
Listen.
I hear breathing. Like a breath.
I heard something through there. It's off again.
It's off again, look. Oh my God, it's off again. Oh my God!
Look at the pendulum.
Ooh!
That's more like it.
Oh, nah.
That was both together. I heard a voice. I heard breathing. You heard breathing.
I heard breathing.
Then the ball
And
went.
again, I've just heard breathing again there.